Double D?
Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and, like, kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys. Who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, you know, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening their refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of like a mermaid or a siren. Right?
This is not the face of the hobby anymore. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, you know, white dudes in a basement, which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
I just had to be born with empathy and a weakness for socialism and femboys.
We gotta put a little hot sauce on the taco, you know what I mean?
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
When we got the descriptions, they were very adamant. They were like, try not to make it like a white blonde guy. Like, please, like, we love them, but there's like 500 million of them.
The diversity that the characters need to have needs to reflect the gaming world now. The mix of people that are playing these games, you know, it's not, 13-year-old white boys held up in their basements. It's a very diverse crowd,
You say white lives matter, they don't. White lives don't matter because white lives aren't a thing.
What's this?
What's this? It's the jacket.
The jacket.
Lutherville, Marina Del X, Otisburg. Who's this monster? She's got her own place. Otisburg. It's a little bitty place. Otisburg. Okay, I just wipe it off. That's all. It's a little town. Yep.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay.
No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
5, 4, 3. Great, Sam.
We dumping chump. It's a landslide, sir.
On guard.
Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
Double zeros, baby!
We got this.
We got this. We got it. I think you're live, Rogan. Yeah, I think your mic is good. Yeah, your mic is good.
College paid off.
Double D. There we go. Charades. Yeah. Death Angel. Sounds like. You take a 1 week off. You forget everything. Go ahead. You can get that one over there, Rogan, if you so desire.
Best in men.
That's right. You are what is best in men. Disco Barbarian. $5. Yardog Brothers and Sword Sisters. Happy New Year. Let this be the best year ever. Starting tomorrow with my birthday. Oh boy, DB. Line up for your spanking as if Crazy Mouse were here, which he's not, unfortunately. He'd put you in front of the spanking machine. And we'd give you your propers. Thank you so much, Disco, and happy early birthday, buddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Let's see. We got some new folks here, some older folks. Jeff Hatch, good to see you, buddy. John D is retired. I'll be there soon, buddy. I'll be there soon. Nick Laserbeam, no mouse, time to riot. Yeah, Crazy Mouse, he has to take his daughter back to college early tomorrow. So, we we couldn't ask him. He's been working, as you know, he works really hard. So, yeah, he gets the night off.
Good family man.
Oh, yeah. Nerdy Ogre. Howdy, howdy. Well, howdy, howdy for you. Patty's here from Rumble. Good to see you guys. Cal, our fearless moderator. I'm just tired. Oh, boy.
Don't be tired.
Yeah, wake yourself up.
Yeah, wakey.
Eggs and bakey. So, all right. Cobanizer, good to see you. The left coast is toast. Yes, what is going on there? It's just burning up. Burning up. I feel bad for about, oddly, why do I feel bad for just 35% of the population out there? What was the election results out there? 65-35? But yeah, no, it's a terrible thing. All these fires could have been prevented with some burning, some preventative burning, but we don't want to do that stuff anymore because it doesn't look good to the weirdos.
All those out there in those encampments hiding.
Yeah, exactly.
Burn them out.
Mercurius, my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. Gifted 1 membership. Thank you, amigo. Thank you very much. Good to see you here. Oh boy. So, all right. So we'll get started in a moment here. I just some housekeeping stuff. Thank you guys for bearing with me last week, as it's the first show we've missed in quite a while. And for those of you that don't know or missed my post, the reason we had to miss last week was we had to put my mom in hospice. Let's see, boy, that was way back. I just think last Monday or Tuesday, I think it was, we called. And she ended up passing away this past Sunday. So I want to thank you guys, everybody, that responded, all the prayers, all the thoughts. They really were. I read everyone, and I did feel it. My mom was a great woman. She just very kind, and she was ready to go. She was 88, and this past year she was just kind of saying, like, you know what, Sonny D, it's time. She's like, I want to meet Jesus. So, she just kind of, there was nothing really wrong with her. She just kind of like wore out. She went to the ER a couple weeks ago, and they did like all this work, and they said, you are abnormally normal for your age. Like there was really nothing wrong to speak of, other than she just kind of stopped eating and then just kind of stopped drinking, and she was just done with it. So it was, if I'm sure so many of you have gone through the same thing. Until you do, it is a little different. You can always kind of empathize with people and say like, hey, boy, I really feel for you. That's great. Until you go through it, you don't quite understand it. And now I guess I'm sort of in that club. And it is. It's very sad. Especially the first day after. Even yesterday, there were moments. Where I was kind of thinking back and kind of breaking down. The odd thing, Rogan. Have you ever seen? I think it was after he had announced his resignation, Richard Nixon talking about his mom.
I did.
My mother was a saint.
Yes.
For some reason, I immediately thought of that. And I'm like, I'm going to watch that. I did, and I started to tear up. It's because, Nixon's kind of tearing up. The report back then, even though the reporters hated him, even they were kind of, tearing up. Just, a guy talking about his mom and how there's going to be, no books written about her. But she was a saint, and that's sort of how I view my mom. Simple lady, loving lady, wonderful woman. She even watched your kids. I think
she did.
A time
oh
or
my
two.
Goodness,
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but there was a crossover.
Oh, yeah.
You guys needed a babysitter, and my mom's like, I'll do it.
She's awesome. Yeah, my daughter had a dance recital. She's 4.
Yes.
And it was your mom and Mrs. D watched my twin boys that were just, they were weeks old, I think it was.
Yes. Yep. And it's just kind of the woman she was. She just kind of wanted to help people, almost at times, you know, to the detriment of herself sometimes. We had to tell her, like, Mom, you got to be a little more selfish. I mean, it's good. Kind of, thank you so much, Patty. Love you too, brother. Jeff Hatch. Whoops. Sorry. It's jumping on me there. Yep. Thank you, my friend. Just pick a couple here. I can't pick them all, guys, but just know I appreciate everyone. I'm going to come back and read these after the fact, you know, but I don't want to just stop the show and just just start reading. Oh, wow. I like that. Just safe to say that, you know, her, you know, we're kind of celebrating her life. It wasn't, I guess, what I would say a tragedy. It was just kind of sad, you know, like every end is. But she would want us to go on. One thing I love about my mom, she was OG MAGA. Like before anybody else in 2016, Trump came to our city. And this is when my dad and, you know, my uncle were like, oh, we're going to be maybe Ted Cruz, you know. And, you know, I didn't know who I was going to vote for. And my mom is like, nah, this Trump guy, I love him. He's great. I want to go see him, you know, but she was like 80 at the time. So I'm like, all right, Mom, we'll take you. And that's, we were there, and that's kind of was my revelation. I'm watching our local, you know, convention center, our arena just kind of fill up. And I'm like, boy, they told me, you know, there's not going to be a lot of people here. I'm seeing a lot of farmers here for Trump. And like, I'm just like, holy shit. I'm like, Mom might be onto something. And yeah, she was. That was one of the happiest I've seen her in the last 8 years. Yeah, she just had this smile on her face the whole time when he came out. So thank you, Mama, for, as always, leading the way. And I will try to honor your memory. All right, so let's go here. Oh my Lord. Little sneak peek there. All right. Rogan.
Yes.
We were talking off camera.
Yes.
Yeah, you've about Sly Flourish.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard of the guy.
Forge of Foes, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so you guys, I did a video on this, but I also knew there would be some need to kind of share it with you guys to get your thoughts. So Rogan, you can patrol the chat. We will. I'll go back here. All right. So this book came out, and I think it came out maybe it was a little while ago. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure how this kind of slipped through the cracks. You know, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Maybe people are just getting it now. The Lazy DM, that is Sly Flourish. Well, who is Sly Flourish? He is this manly man right here. That is a if you were gonna say something is soft, that is a very soft face, I would say. Would you not agree, Rogan?
I agree, and I would not want anyone to say that about my face.
Yeah. I mean, look. None of us are going to be winning any beauty contests. That's for sure. In the same respect, come on, Sly. Mix in a salad, do a couple push-ups. Come on now, brother. But yeah, that is the Lazy DM, aka Sly Flourish. Fairly well-known D&D YouTuber. Soy 103%. Yeah. It's a little too much soy milk, almond milk, whatever you went. So this book, there's 3 authors. There's Mike Shea, that is Sly Flourish. Scott Fitzgerald Gray. Don't know anything about him. Don't like that he's using Scott Fitzgerald as F. Scott Fitzgerald is my favorite author. Classical author, I should say. And then Teos Abadia.
That sounds like a food.
Oh, there he is. We've talked about him before. We've EFAP'd some of his stuff. Teos Abadia, Mastering Dungeons, one of the worst YouTubers. What I hate is I understand, Rogan. I'm never going to be, mainstream. People aren't going to be beating down my door to come on, this live stream
yet.
But I mean, my God, these guys have made like more videos than me, more live streams. They draw flies. They're horrible, and yet somehow they have this status in the D&D community. It's an awful channel. I even downloaded one of their videos. Maybe we can watch it later, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on how much I want to put you guys to sleep. It's just an awful channel. So it doesn't surprise me that these two just profoundly boring guys got together. Now, it's one thing to be, boring. You can be boring and still produce good work, I would say. Yeah. I'm not sure you can be really, really kind of soy like that and produce good work. I suppose it's possible. If you kind of have the heart of eye of the tiger, heart of a lion, all that stuff. These guys don't have any of that stuff. They got none of it.
No, they don't.
None of it. All right, so what is in this book, Forge of Foes? It is a 5e. It is a bunch of monsters, Rogan.
Well, what could be wrong with that?
Well, yeah. Yeah, what could be wrong with that? Especially when you kickstart it. You're making almost $300K.
Bam.
Yeah. Now, normally you'd say, well, good on them. Good on them. Patty wants me to share my strength training regimen with us soon. Yep, I will. I like hitting the heavy bag, doing exercises in between, whether weightlifting or calisthenics. We'll get to that. All right, so you open this book called Forge of Foes, and you see this, Rogan, anti-colonial play. You're like, what the F is this?
Is that a play on words?
No.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Talking about the evolution of modern fantasy role-playing games. The source of that hierarchy isn't a role-playing game at all. Tabletop miniatures, wargaming was the forebear of fantasy role-playing in its earlier forms. In fact, the primal edition of D&D made the explicit assumption that the new players were already wargamers. Damn right, the way it should be. And would automatically understand the lexicon and context. So they're talking about, 50 years later, they basically want to get rid of D&D's wargaming past because they think it's rooted in the ongoing legacy of colonialism. Foundation of a great deal with what's wrong with the world. All right, so pop quiz. Can you name any colonialism in the world being done by the West, Rogan?
Now?
Yeah, right now. I understand we may have had that
right
in the past.
That's every culture, and that was a gosh awful long time ago.
Yes.
I can't think of it. I can't.
Yeah. Maybe even made some places better.
Well, undoubtedly.
Now all the colonialism is actually being done by China in Africa. They're actually doing a lot of that. And they're also, I'll grab that one. It's also being done by Africans coming into Europe and Middle Easterns coming into Europe. And Central and South Americans trying to colonize America. Asterion Moloch, $5. Now that you mention it, the D&D quote-unquote community seems to have a lot of influencers no one watches or knows, but are apparently community icons somehow. Absolutely. We'll give you a...
Right. We want the...
Right.
We had another one from Jeff from Denkar, and I can't slide this up to get it.
Oh, my Lord. Let's see if I can find it on here. Oh, there it is. Jeffrem, I'm going to give you... I'll give you one of these. For some reason, we lost it.
You're what is best in men.
Jeffrem, Denkar, $5 Canadian. You are what is best in men. Hi, all. Besides wishing DB a happy birthday, congratulations, good sir. Let's add Boris Vallejo, oh boy, to the birthday wishes, as he is 84 today. Oh, wow.
Is he still alive?
Yeah. One of the greatest living artists ever. There was a good documentary on Frank Frazetta. It's on Amazon Prime. It was really good. Mrs. D and I were watching it last night. Likey. Colonialism, says OGG, is what Soros, Schwab, Gates are doing to Western institutions. Yes, governments and economies. They're flooding us with nationals from other countries. That's colonization. Mac Thompson. His nonsense post inspired me to shift the Hexcrawl campaign I'm creating into a full-blown colonial-esque game of conquest. Slave markets and brothels. Amen, brother. And a boy. I'll pick all these up, Rogan. Thank you. Snake Oil Shan. Gifted 5 memberships. Are you kidding me? Sean, I got something special for you. There's a way. Thank you, brother. 5 memberships. Our old buddy, Patrick Demo, not to be outdone, $5. Good to see you, buddy. Why does every damn thing have to reflect the real world? It's like the entire hobby forgot how to. Fantasy. Yes, brother. Yes.
You called down the thunder, well, now you got it.
That's right.
Oh, I love that quote.
It's a classic. So you can kind of see here, you're opening up this book of foes, and you start getting a lecture. The ongoing legacy of colonialism is the foundation of a great deal of what's wrong with the world. What? Explain to me how India is worse off due to British colonization. Good Lord, South Africa. Go look up what they call Cape Town once the British kind of, their influence was gone. Replace the C with an R. You got armed gangs just going around. I will say this, like somebody that I know professionally in South Africa, their home was invaded.
Oh, no.
Like literally guns out.
Right.
Like, robbed, fortunately, and not killed, but holy shit. I mean, people forget this. There was a time when South Africa had nuclear weapons. That's how advanced South Africa was.
I never knew that.
Yes. Yeah. But, all that apartheid, I guess. Well, okay. That's fine. Maybe you shouldn't have gone so far the other way. I'm not saying, apartheid is great, but maybe you guys could have eased into things. So Western colonialism, basically, I'm sorry, a lot of the places were, quite frankly, civilized. And I'm not going to apologize for it. So it's not what's wrong with the world. The world would be far worse were it not for that. However, as gamers, we can and should and must think about how our experience of the real world feeds into the worlds we create together. We need to understand the ways in which the tradition of colonialism, hardwired into common culture and media, can easily make us embrace potentially hurtful ideas, even without meaning it. They treat you like children. It's a problem worth fixing. We want to have a discussion because being aware of and rejecting colonialist ideals in our fantasy role-playing games makes those games better. I want someone to explain this to me. You have a classic story of good versus evil. How is going into the troubled childhood of the lead orc or ogre that's invading the lands, how is that making things better? That's what I want to know. And how are you doing that?
Right.
It's like, do your players like have a skull session? With hey, we want to meet Thurzar, the great Orog king. And then you all sit down, you turn your chair around backwards, you put your hat on, like this, and go, "Hey, buddy, let's rap."
Yeah.
Let's talk about your childhood.
This is a safe place for us.
Yeah, it's a safe place. It's like those lectures you got in the 80s, like after about drug use. And let's rap, Thurzak. What makes you tick? Why do you let your soldiers, grape, pillage, kill? As Dirty Harry Callahan said about Scorpio, you know he's going to kill again, right? They're like, how do you know that? He just looked at him and said, because he likes it.
Right.
Look at who the orcs worship. Look at who the gnolls worship. Demonic entities.
Well, that was forced on them by the creators of D&D to do that, since they were both racist and sexist.
All right. I mean, my God. We got one of the religions in the world doesn't even, I mean, they don't even have a, I guess you would call like an objectively evil God. I'm talking about Islam here. But the way it's implemented, I would say, at times is very evil. And that's a God that's supposed to be, good and just. And just by the way their holy book is written, I mean, look what it has led their followers, not all of them, I understand, but many of them to do and to support. So what do you think would happen when you have a literal demon? You have a race worshiping a literal demon. We got to treat them like individuals. How does that make the story better? Thurzar never got a hug from Dad. It's sad. Thank you, Matt. These are... So what is the purpose, I guess? I think there's a broader, as there always is with these guys, I think there is a broader purpose. And I think it is to sort of to undermine this whole right versus wrong. Everything's gray. Because if you can say that in an imaginary game using, tropes that are time, tested, going all the way back, to the Bible. If you can say that's not the way things are now, you can then say things like, oh, well, you can say stuff like this is, what's wrong with this? This is about the UK and what's going on over there. The horrible grooming gangs that is now coming to light. It's finally, everybody knew it was just bubbling under the surface. Okay? And when you can say, shades of gray, bro, shades of gray, you put up with stuff like this. Researcher who worked for the UK government tried to whistleblow about the grooming gangs, but was sent to diversity training courses instead. You cannot make this stuff up. We are beyond parody and satire over in the UK. Talking about the girls of Rotherham. From 97 to 13, it was imprudent to say anything like this or even to mention the ethnicity and religion of the perpetrators. They're Pakistanis. A Home Office researcher who tried to tell police and superiors what was going on was sent on a diversity training course instead. Any policeman who's not been given formal diversity training must be assumed to be racist. That is what they believe. There are people over in the UK, fathers who have found out their daughters have been essentially groomed and GRAPED by Muslim gangs. And the grapers got fined less money than the fathers did for raising a ruckus to the police.
That is utterly effed up.
Yeah. What is going on today in Great Britain is it is almost a different country, and it's all due to guilty white males. And but the thing is, to connect it, they all believe, all the guilty white males, they would believe this. They would say like, oh yeah, the reason they're here is colonialism, bro. You know, that's why you got to put up, you have to let your daughter, think about this, all of you guys who have beautiful daughters. The authorities over there think it's fine. They will look the other way. When these people are caught, they are often given a slap on the wrist, either a fine or just a couple months in jail at the most.
Well, there's a monstrous irony to this, because if a Muslim father's daughter is raped, she's more likely to be killed by the father.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Yeah. To show you that
honor killing, because it's a dishonor for my daughter to be raped.
Yeah.
By a period.
Yeah. To show you the savage nature of that faith as practiced, in some of its. All right. So as long as we're on the subject, we might as well peel the Band-Aid off.
Let's rip it off.
Okay. This is something. Look, I've been, since 9/11, I've been, against these guys. See that at the bottom? Consanguineous marriages. You know what that means? That is marriages to first cousins and stuff like that.
Right.
Inbreeding. All right, so you can see pretty much everywhere is either gray, where they probably didn't have data, or yellow, where it's it's immaterial, I guess. So the West, it's immaterial. Russia, it's immaterial. China, immaterial. Australia, South America. What do you notice about all them colored places?
That's a very singular religious area.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, you'd almost think there was a certain, funny how it does kind of stop right at the border of India.
There's a theme there.
Yeah, stops with a nice finale there in Pakistan, where over 60% of the marriages are consanguineous in Pakistan. Did you know this? Do you know this? Look at that map. That map speaks for itself, does it not? Okay, what happens when you have generations of inbreeding? You become less intelligent. You become angry. You do stupid things. You come over to places and you take what you want like you are an invader. That is what's happening. Okay, this isn't some cooked up statistic. This is fact. Now, there's a lot of people who don't want to admit this fact, but I'm sorry. Okay? So they are exporting their people all through Europe, all through the UK, and they would do it to the US too if it weren't for the ocean on both sides. What do you want me to say? It's absolutely sickening. It's disgusting. And I am not all good vibes on Islam. I'm sorry. I'm just not. That's why I hear people talking about the other religion in the Middle East, the JEWS, and I understand Israel they ain't perfect. I understand. I get it. I know. But my God, look at what is surrounding them. Just look at the map that is surrounding them. Okay.
It's hard not to see it. If you, if you just, take your mind and make a clean slate, then just open your eyes and take a look at it.
Yeah.
You cannot see that. I mean, you cannot, you have to be able to see that.
Yeah. So when they're saying there's in these D&D books, oh, there is no right and wrong, everything's shades of gray. You can look at a map like this and go, well, hey bro, what's wrong with Pakistan having 60% consanguineous marriages? Well, it's like you dumb fucks will make any joke you can about Appalachia. Oh yeah, all them inbreeders in Appalachia, which I don't even know how true that is anymore. If it ever was, true in any large scale. But yet you'll turn a blind eye to this? Are you kidding me? Okay. It's filthy.
There's been centuries of studies in regards to the monarchy of the royalty throughout Europe, inbreeding and stuff like that in the ancient times.
Yeah.
Edgelord
or Patrick Demo, make them better. Sorry, I normally don't take the advice of food critic. We can't taste anything. Why would I taste anything with my hobby? Yep. Why would I do anything different with my hobby? Yep. Edgelord, I only need enough background for a speak with dead spell, particularly where is the loot. My condolences, Double D. Thank you so much, Edgelord. I think there's a couple down here. Didn't want to lose those. That's why I kind of rushed them. I think if for some reason YouTube, it's not just the app that we use. It's like YouTube will cut off. It's like you can never go back. It doesn't keep the whole like live chat. It drives me crazy. It always has. So occasionally you'll have what happened with poor Jeffrem earlier. When I had to kind of just manually read his super chat.
Forget you, Jeffrem.
We didn't forget you though. I'll always take care of you guys. If it ever happens, you can retype it. Just say this was the super chat. I will read it. I'll give you all the apropos. The Badger, $5. Do not extend to others that which they would not extend to you where your roles are. Yes. God, it makes me angry, Badger, that we are so kind to immigrants and all that. And we should be to folks that come in the right way. I hate to say it, I see both sides, especially with the H1B1. That whole thing needs to be like redone. But just normal immigrants who are just kind of coming in the right way, yeah, welcome. You're doing it right. You want to be American. You want to fit in. Matt, there's a 100% chance of an IQ 20 points less than the mean. He's talking about with inbreeding. There's a 400% chance of retardation. Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Riddle me this, Batman. I asked this on Twitter. In a Islamic country, a predominantly Islamic country, even if it doesn't have Sharia law, but predominantly Islamic, name for me one country that has produced any major breakthrough in science, the humanities, warfare, literature. The only good literature that comes out are people that get out of those places. Okay? There is no innovation in these places. I'm sorry. Dirt people. It's a swath of fucking, dirt people. The map speaks for itself. Even, we're looking at some of the lighter colors. Gee, that's only 20%. Oh, well, boy, you guys are great. 20% marrying your cousin. Are you kidding me?
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Why do you think they can come over to the UK and start having at it with young British girls as young as 13 and 14? I ain't here to play. Fuck you. Thank you, Matt. And that is exactly correct. This is medical. Sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Ooh, you're probably hearing it now, Dark Knight. Thank you very much for the €2. Double D, I think the Middle East is a massive shit show. Both groups are committing war crimes. Perhaps, yes. Well, no, yes, you're right. But only one is covered. I just want us all to leave. Yeah, I don't think we should be in there in any meaningful way.
Not at all.
But I'm just saying, there's the map around you. You literally have Morlocks. If you're that country, who I'm not saying is perfect, okay, you are surrounded by Morlocks. Everybody loves the Palestinians. What countries won't let the Palestinians in? Well, Israel actually lets some of them into work and stuff like that. Egypt won't let them in. Jordan won't let them in. I wonder why. OGG, $5 Canadian. The government finds nothing wrong with that inbreeding, as it provides their future Morlock breeding site. I didn't even realize you use Morlock. I love the term Morlock. Yeah, so does Rogan too. Yeah, Morlock breeding stock. Yeah, high ground for my Eloy brothers and sisters. That's right. Yep, we just got to get the Eloy to do their push-ups and teach them how to fight back.
Drink their milk.
Yeah, drink their milk, fight back. Okay, I think we're caught up on the super chats. Thank you guys. Much breeding. Yeah, but I mean, this is, we're supposed to ignore stuff like this. Colonialism. They're the ones that are swamping the shores And it's on purpose. You don't think the people funding it know exactly what's going to happen? Give me a break.
In the role of, D&D and literature, fiction, and stuff like that, artistic people, writers, and stuff like that certainly draw from our history and create something creative about it. Usually fighting against slavery, it's freeing the slave girl and her family, whatever. Yeah. It's slavery is never treated as a good thing. All right.
Well, except when it's done by the Barbary pirates.
Right.
Then it's we won't talk about that. It's okay.
it's just nuts that we're there's still people that take this so very seriously now. I look at this and I'm thinking to myself, well, is this guy they raising money to free somebody from they're trying to help a community over? What are they trying to do? What's the purpose? No, it's to indoctrinate us into a mentality that's retarded.
Yep. Colonizer, I'll call it an invasion when people start fighting back the way they should be fighting back. I'll just leave it at that. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Happy note. I'm writing a Conan-style pulp story. Great. Absolutely good to hear. Dark Knight of Hibernia, €2. Best of luck to you. Send it off to us when you are done. Patrick. It's too, quote-unquote, on the nose that we were looking at a map and the ratio of child brides in those sections are higher than average. I get your meaning there with map. Yeah. Sorry. I don't... maybe we should have done more colonizing in those colored places. All I can say is thank God for Charles Martel. All right, so colonialism is a topic far too broad to be properly summed up in this or any other short treatise. But in a nutshell, the history of our modern age has been defined by specific groups of people laying claim to the entire world over centuries of exploration and not caring that the rest of the world had other peoples living in it at the time. Oh, you mean like the Brits, the white Brits that are over there right now. The history of colonialism is a history of conflict and warfare. Well, I guess warfare is done differently now, especially when you have willful allies, guilty allies in the government allowing you to take it without a fight. Of groups clashing over control of wealth and natural resources. Yeah. I mean, look, Islam's purpose, they just want to turn the country Islamic. That's all it is. They are at war. You don't realize you're at war with them. You invite them in and they smile and go, "Oh yeah, this is great." Yeah. They are at war with you. It is in their book. Why do you think there is no problem with them doing what they do to young British girls? Once they conquer them, then there's a new set of rules that come in because they've won. But right now, it's just they're in the pillaging phase, and it's just they're allowing them to do it. Of one group of people raiding into and claiming lands not their own, and treating the lives and livelihoods of folk living in those lands as plunder. Again, 13-year-old girls in Great Britain are plunder, and these old white British men don't seem to care. And if any of the above sounds vaguely similar to any fantasy RPG you've ever played, you might get a sense of the problem. What happens, people will say, "Oh, hey, Double D, why you gotta cover this?" I can always tell the little quislings in my chat. You little quislings. Why, if you just ignore it, you don't even play it anyway. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. I cover it because it has a ripple effect. I mean, here's the ripple effect. Not enough people shamed Sly Flourish into thinking this is horrible. So he did a Kickstarter, and a lot of people got hoodwinked into supporting it. This is what happens when you don't call it out. Sly Flourish is a dope. I mean, I never even liked him when, he was supposedly okay. Give Dark Knight of Hibernia something, will you there, Rogan? Give him a little something. It's like, give him the rim shot, I guess. There was
You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it.
There you go. That's more like it. There was an Indian city that burned wives with their dead husbands. When Brits came, they banned this, hung the murderers, and India hasn't done it again. Yeah. Well, I mean, the conquistadors, what did they stop? Why do you think, the Central Mexico, they're very Catholic now. You know what they're not doing? They're not human sacrificing anymore.
And they did that shit a lot.
Yes. It's almost insanity, Rogan, that these ivory tower elitists will sit there and tell you with a straight face, oh, these were wonderful cultures that we destroyed. They are literally sacrificing people because they believed if they didn't, the sun wouldn't rise. Yet here come the Spanish who had to crack a few skulls in order to stop it. That's going to happen, when you have people, who, let's face it, probably liked sacrificing, their subjects. They had to crack a few skulls, and then lo and behold, now they have Christianity. And the only time there's ever, widespread trouble is when they veer away from that. Okay? Quote unquote colonialism destroyed human sacrifices. And those dark age science beliefs. Yet somebody from Harvard would tell you like, oh yeah, this the Incas, the Mayans, beautiful cultures, All right, well, just because they made a couple of nice artifacts, and I'm not saying don't study them, to kind of learn about them. It's fascinating in that regard. Cannibalism, as TB says, yeah, stuff like that. But Jesus, we have to sit here and listen to the fact that they were just, skipping carefree in their meadows, before they were introduced to the good word of Christ. Jeez, give me a break.
Yeah, the conquistadors showed up with their armor and their guns and just plowed right through them.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. And that they were weak. Yeah, I mean, they lost because they were weak too. So something to be said about science, the science of gunpowder. That it includes that. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Europe used to say, F around, find out. Exactly. I mean, we need to say that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Edgelord. But what have the Romans ever done for us? Thank you, Edgelord. Yeah, they weren't done when they saw an opportunity. Yeah, of course, they were after gold. And along the way, a funny thing happened. They ended up civilizing an entire continent. Yeah, no apologies. Sorry.
I'm trying to wrap my. I understand this concept. I understand this about the colonialism. I get why people are using that expression. And it's because they hate white people.
Yes.
But the fact remains is, the dawn of human time. One culture would go in and decimate the other and take their land and just boom, and that culture is gone. The stronger one survived, and that like. How far do you stop in this right here? You just stop because the white people did it, or
That's how you can tell they're not honest,
right?
Honest brokers. How you doing, Malachi? Yeah, because they will. You're right. They will stop at I mentioned earlier about the Barbary pirates and slavery. You think they'll ever mention them? About the slavery of the Barbary pirates? No, they don't care. This is, look, we've said it before, we'll say it again. All these people have the same thing in common. If you're a white guy, they hate your guts and they want to see you dead. It's that simple. They may not kill you outright right now. They would if they could get away with it. Okay? So, it's we're getting to the point where if you are a white dude and you are at any point on these people's sides, there is something wrong with you. You have a death wish. You are stupid. You are weak. And I think a lot of it is just that. They're so weak. They don't want the conflict. I don't want to, I don't want to hear it from my wife. I don't want to hear it from, my mom. I don't want to hear it from my brothers and sisters. Instead of just saying, hey, this is what I believe. If you don't want to talk politics, that's fine. But you know what? I don't fucking care. I believe this stuff. And if you don't, that's fine. It's your funeral.
Taking a step back, what does Sly Flourish get from this? On it, like I'm thinking, like, okay, you're impressing who by your bleeding heart? Like, but what do you get? I mean, like, you're not. Well,
you'll get nods from the Matt Colvilles of the world, the Ginny D's, anybody at Wizards of the Coast is going to nod and say, oh yes, very very well done. Trust me. We're in the minority in this niche, even though we're starting to give voice, I think, to, a growing number. We'll say it a large minority who are tired of it. They're just tired of it. Andrew Thomas. Abortion and euthanasia are their modern day versions of human sacrifice. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Andrew. Yeah. It's always about death with them. I remember Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy. I like her a lot too. She gave this great famous speech at like a family, like some sort of family council over in Italy before she came Prime Minister, gave this speech. And I just remember one part, she's like, why do they always side with death? If you're on a political side and it's always about death. The left over here in the West, they were always about death, but at least they used to at least sort of be anti-war. So they had that kind of in their column. Well, now the left over here has abandoned that, and they have adopted all of the neocon interventionism. We want warfare. We want this. Well, now you're completely about death. That's why right now I am so happy where the right is right now in the Western world. They are on the right in the Western world right now is pretty much on the right side of just about everything. And the left conversely is on the wrong side of everything. Yeah, it's abortion, euthanasia. You go up to Canada, they can't afford to take care of you, so they just kind of hurry you along. And then you have people in America who get some of the best healthcare in the world. Not some of the best healthcare in the world. Just because it ain't perfect doesn't mean it ain't the best. Oh, we need government healthcare. Okay. You think we can afford that? Look what Canada's doing. Hurrying people on and let's just say encouraging them. Oh, there's nothing wrong with euthanasia. If we were up in Canada, we'd have lost my mom probably 2 years ago or a year ago. They'd have told her like, oh yeah, let's get you going, honey. Yeah, I'm getting to that, Mac. Mac wants us to discuss the monster seduction. Yeah, we're going to get to that right now. Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah, we're coming to it. Yeah. But Rogan hasn't seen this yet. I mentioned this in the video. So this is from the same book, Ancestries as Adjectives. So one of the most standard adventure hooks in fantasy games goes, so goblins are attacking the village. The characters need to help. So they want you to change that. Goblin cultists are attacking the village. Goblin bandits are attacking the village. Goblin refugees are attacking the village. Goblin men's rights activists are attacking the village. Okay. So here's where you can't deny it. If you gave money for this book, you've been had. It's one thing to get a preachy colonialism thing. It's over the line for sure. But it's not so blatant as this. This is telling you, we're tweaking your nose. We're doing all of this to tweak your nose. Men's rights activists attacking the village. Matthew sentence. That is a real line from this book, The Forge of Foes.
That hurt my brain.
Yeah. As I said, okay, when you don't speak up often enough and loud enough, and you listen to the people who are like, you're just, I don't want to be a grifter. You're just a grifter. What does that mean? You know, what does that mean? You're a grifter, man. You grift off of this. Why don't you just quiet down, Double D? You don't have to talk about this. Just play your game and let them do theirs. Fuck you. I'll talk about whatever I want. Okay? I'm 6'4". I could probably kick your fucking ass. Sorry. Don't tell me what to talk about.
And I'd pay to see that.
We'll get Keemstar to line you guys up. Just boom, 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 boom. I'll knock you fucking down. But yeah, it's like, shut the fuck up. I'll talk about what I want. And I want to talk about this because, Rogan, you've known me for 20 years.
Yes.
Would you say my conservative / libertarian ideals are in any way false or in any way, I don't know how to put it, like I would be trying to take advantage of people under false pretenses by them?
No, God, no, not at all.
Yeah. Have I been like this since you know me?
You've been solid ever since I've known you. You have not deviated from your core whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing you could say about me is I guess I kind of, at the time, I was kind of hoodwinked. I'm like, well, maybe, nothing wrong with going into Iraq and, doing that. Hey, now, big mistake. At least I'm man enough to admit that was a mistake. I made a mistake.
The world was so, I look at it as the world being very different.
It
and the
was.
world has changed drastically in 20 years.
Yes, it has, yeah.
Was there good to do something?
Yeah.
Things,
Exactly.
Looking back, was it a mistake? I don't know. The world changed a lot, but what's going on now is completely different.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like I'm not, like I said, George Bush. It wasn't a great president. But look, I got news for you. I'm still not voting for Al Gore or John Kerry. I'm sorry. It's been a lot worse.
Al Gore did invent the internet.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that going for him, which is nice, as Carl said in Caddyshack. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Ooh, €10. Give him something. Give him something too. Yeah, give him a little.
You called down the thunder. Well, now you.
Yeah. He likes that one.
I like this one a lot.
I heard conservatives say 800,000 doc appointments a year seemed a bit much. I learned that 1.3 billion docs since 1980, 29.5 million a year. All wars since 3600 BC killed 1.1 billion. Yeah, mind blowing. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, Dark Knight? Thank you so much. Just the colossal waste of all of it. All of it. DB, $10. I'll hit you with something, DB. I'll give you a little something we haven't heard before.
Your little footballs.
Laces out.
Laces out. I love Ace Ventura, and I'm a Dolphin fan, so what can you say? Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea. Disco Barbarian, $10. Compromising with evil makes you slowly become evil, yes. Ignoring saying not important equals support. Exactly. You're not above the fray doing that. You are fanning the flames. All fence sitters get is a post in the ass. Bingo. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I have no problem with this. Well, and I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, man, it's kind of cringy to keep talking about it. I view it like this. I want to say this shit anyway. I'd probably say it if I had half the subscribers I do. I like saying it because I hate leftism. I hate communism. I hate socialism. And if I have a microphone in front of me where people are going to listen, good Lord, 160, almost 170 people live,
awesome.
A couple thousand afterward for a channel this size. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm going to tell you how much I hate communism. But you know what? I also know a lot of folks, including a lot of these guys in the chat, they don't have a voice. They want to hear this. That's why I don't even care if like I did this video yesterday and I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, a couple other people already covered this, but I'm thinking like, I think these guys just want to hear me talk about it. Like I'll just to let them know, yeah, I heard this. I'm with you on this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Nothing.
No.
I will continue to give voice to what I think, and I think a lot of what I think is what you think. So, no regrets. I eventually, well, maybe we'll talk about the future of the channel, because Professor Dungeon Master had a really good video about the future of D&D YouTubers. And to make a long story short, I always want this channel, of course, gaming will be kind of at the heart of it. But man, I've always told you, I've been very open. You know, my favorite YouTuber is Razor Fist. You know, and his channel is him. You know, we went on a tangent about Islam, you know, because it did tie into what we're talking about here. I have no problem talking about that shit. And thank you, Mac. Yeah, hit the likes, you lazy bastards. But yeah, I want to be able to talk about what I want to talk about. And so many D&D YouTubers, you know, that are just going away, they fail to realize this. That they think that their product is, well, my product is advice. My product is reviews. My product is this. And they don't realize, no, you are the product. They're here to see you if you're at all engaging, charismatic. That's why a lot of these D&D YouTubers, they're good when they do canned videos, but none of them can do live streams. They're not the utility knife that I am. And others like me, like Black Lodge Games, another good one. You know, they can do great canned videos, and they can also do live streams. It's because they're interesting guys. They have a lot to say. Pundit too. Pundit does canned videos. Now, granted, he would be the first to tell you his canned videos are very, very basic. But he still does them, you know, which counts for something. And, you know, he does live streams too. It takes the ability to have a point of view and passion, and also not being afraid to upset a few people. And you like the Ginny D, she could never do a live stream. Are you kidding me? She'd break down crying 5 minutes in. You know, Bob the World Builder, you know, for his videos are good. You know, every time I want to hate Bob, and God, some of the stuff he does and believes is just so disappointing. But I'll never probably hate Bob, because
it's hard not to.
I know, it's like he's you know, he's everything we talk about, but then he does a video and I laugh. He does good videos. He's a good YouTuber. He's a far better YouTuber in the canned video department than I am. But still, you know, Bob can't do live streams, even, you know, as good as Professor Dungeon Master is. I'm not sure how good he would be in a live stream, you know, and that's somebody I really do like. You know, I don't know. Bob's a dork for sure. Hey, Cal, come on. we know that. Bob's going to be at PhillyCon. Look, if I ever met Bob, I would go up to him and just say, how you doing? You know, I would be respectful and I would be cordial. I would be friendly. I would never, you know, like I said, he agrees with a lot of this nonsense. But honestly, you have to understand about Bob. This is what he does for a living now. Right. You know, he is a full-time YouTuber. You think you can be a full-time YouTuber in the D&D sphere and talk about, like I did, about Islam just now? Are you crazy? I mean, yeah, he's done.
Because there are people that would set places on fire listening to this.
Yeah. You know, or, you know, like I said, you can just sit there and say nothing about, you know, young British girls getting repeatedly groomed and assaulted.
That stirs.
You have to.
That's just it. Just I have a hard time with that.
It'll make you angry, Rogan. The whole thing will make you so angry.
You know.
And it's not even our country, you know, but it's our ancestors. You know, we always have that special relationship with the UK, and it's so sad to see these cuck cops coming in, arresting people for social media posts, putting fathers in jail for
being furious,
for insulting the people that literally graped their daughter. That's where we're at. That's what happens when you don't have somebody like a Donald Trump. Most hilarious thing, Trump saying, man, we ought to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. I love it. I don't even care if it doesn't happen. The fact that he's talking about it is so funny, and it's just people just exploding. But you don't understand. That's what we need. That's what the left has done for the last 60 years. They have pushed so far that we are immediately off-footed. And then we go, well, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And they say, fine, we won't do that. But we'll do this. And this is pretty bad.
Right.
And this is now something like men can compete in women's sports. Yes, a refugee coming over from North Africa can have access to your 14-year-old daughter. That's what that is now, because they've pushed as far as they can, and this is what they got.
If there's any guys out there that have daughters, and you're not furious about what we're hearing about, what Double D's talking about, man, there's something wrong. Because it
should light a fire in you.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Should light a freaking fire in you.
And it's not. This isn't fallacy. This isn't something you made up. This is a real thing. This is it's on the books. It's in the news. It's real.
Yep. Oof. I hate it. Gulf of America does have a ring to it, and that's why your first reaction should not be to go along with your idiot, ivory tower, brother, cousin, whatever. It should be to laugh and say, what's wrong with it? It does have a ring to it. Exactly. Good. You can throw that one up there. Dark Knight, a quote-unquote guest to Ireland, stabbed kids. Ireland responded by burning down buses and houses for these guests, which was paid for by citizens. Right. At least they got angry, right, Dark Knight? I mean, yeah, I remember that, because I remember James Neckbeardia was kind of talking about that too. Yeah. And he's got kids as well. Go ahead, you can throw that one up. JJM director, let me give you a little something. I'll give you a little something.
Pay that man his money.
Pay that man his money. I am that man. JJM director, thank you, $10. We also hate corporatism. Yeah, government and NGOs colluding with companies. Yeah. Do you like one-shot tactical style games? I've been digging on Frostgrave battle reports. I've heard of Frostgrave before. Great presentations. Stay furious, boys. Thank you, buddy. I'll have to give Frostgrave a look. And yeah, that's another thing too. I guess I said I was kind of wrong about interventionism in the Middle East. It just never really works out. As laudable as your initial goal might be, it just never works out. And also, yeah, I used to be like, well, let corporations do what they want. Blah blah blah. I say let businesses, don't impede businesses. But when these businesses are hand in hand with the government, sorry, all bets off. When they're going in hard with the DEI nonsense, like so many Fortune 500 companies, boy, it's really hard to get back on that train. Let's talk about romancing monsters, shall we, Rogan?
Oh, gosh.
I love how it starts. It can happen in any campaign. Wait, what?
Is Sly Flourish a furry?
I gotta think it's in his past, right?
I just honestly, sex with animals, and listen, these creatures are animals. They're imaginary animals.
Yes.
But this is bestiality-ish. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's that whole thing. It's that whole thing where, hey, there's no good or evil. There's no right or wrong, bro. Good vibes. Do what feels right.
Except for white people. White people are evil.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Go on. I'm sorry. I'm on the edge of my seat right here.
Everybody's focused on the end game, Rogan. Dispensing with foes on every side, digging in deep to uncover ancient lore, and unraveling dire mysteries layer by layer. And then the player of the warlock says, hey, what if instead of trying to defeat the Shadow Sovereign and their legions of umbral anguish, I just, turn on the charm? It'd be, in our group, it would be one of those things you guys would be eating, and then everybody would stop mid bite, drop their forks. What the fuck's the matter with you, dude? What, a fucking undead? Kill him! I roll initiative. Oh boy, Edgelord's gonna make sure this video is not monetized. Always wanted to give a beholder an eye job.
Did I do that?
There you go, good one.
Whoops. We'll go here.
Do them in order. That's right. Sly Flourish. You too can have tentacle prawn. Thank you, buddy. Andrew Thomas, $4.99. Mystic Days has gender-specific mechanics for males and females. You can play it if you come to DaveCon and meet Bob the World Builder. Do it, man. Is that up in Minnesota? I don't want to commit, but I do want to get up there, either for Arnicon or DaveCon or something like that. Meet Bob. I would like to meet Bob. Like I said, it would be fine. I was not like broken up, but I was a little disappointed I didn't see him at Gen Con this year.
I thought for sure we would.
I thought too, yeah. And Ginny D, apparently we just weren't looking. We were standing right by her table and just never saw her.
You know,
she was on a union break or something.
In real life, she's probably not as pretty as we think.
Well, she is the very definition of con hot. Patrick Demo, $5. This is just another degenerate perversion. They've already shoved enough BDSM culture into D&D. Why not just merge it all wholesale? Yep, that's right, Patrick. As we all know, the X card comes from BDSM. All that stuff. Yep, great point as usual. Oh, show.
Whoops.
He's up, he's down, he's in and out. Let me charm the corpse.
It's somewhere.
The chaotic evil PC reveal. Yeah, like I said, that would be a record scratch moment at most tables. Whether it starts as a simple jest around the table at the end of a very late night. Boy, there's bad things that have happened at Sly's table, Mike Shea's table at the end. Some jests that were not really jests.
Right.
Yeah.
Freudian slips.
Yeah. How about a sleepover, guys? We could do a D&D style sleepover,
I'll put my jammies on.
Dude, we can build a fake campfire and snuggle up.
Dude, what are you wearing?
Yeah, God. An ironic attempt at Twilight actual play, fan fiction, an homage to all the players' favorite anime. God, all this degenerate, weird nonsense. Or some other slow-burning urge. Yeah, we know what your slow-burning urges are.
God, is this guy telling a lot about himself or what?
Yes, absolutely. God. Many campaigns come to the crossroads that is romancing the big bad. What? Throw it up there. Go ahead. Romancing. Let that linger, chat. Romancing the big bad. How come when they talk about romance, says Asterion, for $10?
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
That's right. Never do it for free. How come they talk about romance? They never talk about characters or arcs or how that may have helped the story. It's always instantly, what would it be like to F this? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's almost like they're addicted to like dopamine, like they're on certain sites all day, every day, just addicted to it.
It is so telling.
Yeah. Why do you think they identify so much with the invaders over in the UK? They have almost literally the same sort of, let's just say, degraded value system and probably IQ as well. Chris Miller, $10. Good to see you here, buddy. Thank you. What's up, my fellow heteronormative colonizers? Hey, hey, hey. Good to see you, buddy.
On guard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Patrick Demo. No, you dolt. I'm a necromancer. A necromancer. Attaboy. Give you the duck hunt dog there. Slow burning urge. That would be the clap. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you need to take ye old penicillin. Go see the root witch for that. You guys are on fire tonight. Keep it going. So, God, this stuff, they really do reveal themselves, don't they? Many campaigns come to a crossroads, romancing the big bad. Okay, I mean, the only thing I can say is like, if it's something like Strahd or something, which is based so firmly in literature, you're almost, I don't even want to say you're expected to, but he's going to have a thing for like a woman or something. So I can almost see it there. But it's such a niche of a niche of a niche. I mean, who are your big bads that you would even think doing this?
What? The enemy isn't the enemy. It's my sex object.
He's just a hole. He's just a hole. You're just a hole to me, pal. God.
This is how I win you over.
But they get worse. Whether that big bad is a feral monster, a wicked villain, a capricious deity, a malevolent anti-hero, or worse, which is to say better, the character's ultimate goal of fiercely taking down their foe can suddenly remake itself as the new goal of, fiercely taking down their foe. If you catch my drift. No, that doesn't quite track, by the way. That's terrible writing there. I mean, laying down, if you had said laying down their foe, okay, stupid. All right, but let's go back to that. You're talking about romancing a feral monster. Why wouldn't you say, if I was writing this book, you would, even if you wanted to put this in there, and God knows why you would start it out by saying, now you of course can't romance a feral monster, but what if your villain is a, charismatic, swashbuckler or something like that? Okay. At least you're writing something that makes sense, even if it's in context of this, even if it really doesn't. But no, they go right for it. Romancing a feral monster. Bestiality.
Yeah. I mean, honestly. If I'm wrong, I mean, I honestly, who does this?
I wish I knew.
I don't understand that.
It's so stupid. Chris, $10. By the way, I notice that the Sly Romance image has 3 swords. In tarot, the 3 of Swords card typically represents deep emotional pain, or betrayal in a relationship. Projection much? Good catch there, buddy. Good catch. Yeah, I saw one here that looks kind of good. Yeah, it's taking down your foe, not going down on your foe. Yes.
Right.
They could have put that in there. Yes, it would have been so much better. Instead of fiercely going down on your foe. Asterion for 5. The enemy is my sex object. Rogan, I think that's a war crime. Wait, did they just say feral? They did, as in like an animal. Yes. Bestiality, as they say, Asterion. Bestiality. You go up to Romance Strahd only to have him tear out your throat with his teeth. Yeah, the Mind Flayer would eat your head before giving you head. Yes, exactly. Ultra American, good to see you, buddy.
But the risk is worth it.
Yeah. Well, at least Strahd might, depending on his mood, I guess, might play with you a little, and he maybe wouldn't kill you right away. He'd take you upstairs, sweep you off your feet, and then and then he'd rip your throat out. But yeah, point taken. I don't know. This is a profoundly unserious product with what they said about we just looked at about men's rights activists, goblins, and romancing feral beasts.
God bless it.
And then they my God, romancing monsters and villains is a trope.
It's a fetish.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Perfect. Yes. It's a fetish to them.
Trope. It's a fetish.
Romancing monsters. Like, again, all right, are you the only one I can think of literally is like Dracula. I don't understand. It's not a villain, maybe. Okay. I mean, even I would question how widespread it is. It can be great fun if it fits the story your game is telling and the narrative sensibilities of the players. Go ahead, throw that up. Hey, what's up? Hey, Crafty man, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, $10. The text never says, homie done F the monster. Is it possible Sly is talking about romance as the Greek tragedy idea, or Arthurian legend idea of unrequited love or romance, or amour without sex? Yeah. Fat chance, Matt. Fat chance. No, these are very base individuals for all their, parading around as intellectuals. These are very base and vile people. By the way, congratulations on the Golden Domers, Matt. We thought you were on suicide watch when they lost to Northern Illinois. And man, look at how far the Irish came this year. Go ahead, throw that up. Dark Knight of Hibernia, €2. Strahd won't kill you immediately. You'd wish he did. Yes, exactly. That's the horror. That is the horror. Gee, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's almost literary. But no, let's just, hey guys, how did they put that up there? Hey, what if instead of trying to defeat the Shadow Sovereign and legions of umbral anguish, I just, turn on the charm? How gross. I don't use that term often because I think it's not very manly, but God, it really does give you like, ugh.
Isn't that really 12-year-oldish?
Yes. Yep. It is. It's very, like I said, it's very base, very juvenile, very silly. This is it's a very unserious product. I'm gonna throw Patrick up there.
Bam, Patrick.
Sly. I know what fun is. I've had it before. This isn't it. I'm going to give you something, Patrick. I normally reserve this for cheaper super chats, under $1. I'm going to give it to you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
I've been dying to hear that one.
I told Rogan, anybody under $1, give him that one. But we've been itching to use it, and Patrick has been so patient. Then they talk about consent over there. Wait, didn't we do this? Yes, we did. But consent is such an important part of the topic that talking about it once isn't enough. This time, though, we're talking about player consent. Oh boy, because even for a romancing the monster story that involves appropriate consent within the narrative, it's important to recognize that this might not be the type of story all players want to engage in. Well, I mean, for once, if you have a normal player there, maybe they are scratching their head. Maybe it would be anybody at our table like, why are we trying to fuck this,
yeah,
this demon, this...
I don't know about you, but that Tarrasque is looking pretty freaking hot to me, guys.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with this, ha.
Yeah. What, lizard folk, not good enough for you? Where do you even put it?
Hey, those scales are pretty shiny.
Yeah, so maybe normal people actually this is a time where a normal person would throw the X card. A normal person would just get up and say, well, guys, it's been fun. Thank you. Don't call me back. All right, go ahead, Chris Miller. Remember when our PCs used to fear monsters and a charm save from a succubus, etc. was terrifying? Yeah. Yeah, you kind of with a tongue-in-cheek knew, like, if I fail this, it's going to be, the most... epic fail. It's going to be the most brilliant fail ever, but yeah, I'll be gone. Yeah. It's what it's all about. Many players love a campaign that strays into romance and relationship sidetracks, whether between PCs, characters, and NPCs, characters and emissaries from the court of Shadow Fae. We're getting really specific there. This is terribly written, by the way. Doomed to never find true love, or what have you. Boy, you missed the English class about run-on sentences. That needs a little tightening. But lots of players find those topics uncomfortable when they engage them in games, even if they have no problem with them in other fictions. Good Lord, I don't care. I give up. No mas.
Right.
No mas, as the great Roberto Duran said. Go ahead and get Jeffrem. Thank you, Jeffrem. Thank you for understanding earlier. Glad we were able to catch that chat and read it. Jeffrem Denkar, the art pissed me off. The Marileth looks like uninspired crap. The goblin looks like a green gnome. And it looks like something out of a bad sitcom. Yeah. I haven't actually seen the book. If anybody wants to loan me a electronic copy, you know where to find me at Wee Wheaton on Twitter. Just a loan. I promise I'll give it back. Wink, wink. So, oh boy.
Yeah, I do remember quite a few years back at one of our campaigns, and it was not in a birthright setting. It was we did a short thing, and we were down in the crypt someplace, a group of people, and most of us were caught in this one room, and there was this golem. Right? You know, okay. But Stern escaped out of it. Now, a couple of us are getting our asses killed.
Yes.
So what does Stern do? Runs into a woman in this crypt. She's hot and tries to seduce her. Well, she's a vampire. How he got out of that, I don't even know. I know, you know.
She looked good, though.
She was hot.
Yeah, she looked good.
She
Yeah,
was a hottie.
All is forgiven.
Yeah, she was a hottie. She wasn't a knuckle dragging, fur out of the nostrils, snorting fire creature. That was funny.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Again, your iron memory never fails. Patty, is that true? The Merilith has top scars? No.
It kind of looks like it.
No. Oh my lord. Is it? I don't know what. Oh my lord. I don't know what. I was just looking at just how ludicrous this all looks. It's just so.
Is that supposed to be a goblin?
I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it is a Merilith. He is right. It's a six-armed demon. What the fuck? I think I do see what you're talking about. Are those top scars? Oh my lord. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Maybe there might be a little nod to that there. Patrick Demo, as a holder of an English degree, I find the writing as offensive as the content. Yes. Rightly so, my friend. Yeah, just for somebody who's written books before, it's very juvenile, isn't it, Patrick? And very, I would say, unpolished. I know he wasn't the only one to write, but there were two other authors, but it's his name on it, so I'm sure he had editorial control. He could have cleaned some of that up and just said, "Hey, I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna clean this run-on sentence and tighten this up." Yeah, there they are. Consent, any narrative form, prose fiction, film, video. Oh, God, you just want monsters, and this is what you get. And I understand there are monsters in there, but good Lord, if this is typical of the artwork, this is not inspiring me at all. And then you put it next to a big block of, poorly worded consent lecture.
There's a lot wrong with that. An awful lot wrong. And there's the 3 swords. I see the 3 swords.
Yeah.
Purple swords.
Yep. Yeah. Now we know the subtle underpinnings, thanks to our tarot witch, Chris Miller. I feel like playing Dark Lady for you, Chris Miller from Cher. Dark Lady. Dark Knight of Hibernia. Speaking of dark, €2. They are double D because Merilith are all women. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. There are some feminine traits. What you have to do when you get to this point where you're going like, I don't know. You have to take a step back and go, oh, right. That's what Yuri Bezmenov was talking about. They want you so confused that you don't understand reality anymore. Yuri Bezmenov said that in the mid-'80s. He was a Soviet Union defector, and he told you all about what their plan was, very, very openly. And it's not like it's been denied. This is what they do. You question reality, when you are reading stuff like this. And I don't care if it's conscious or unconscious or subconscious. It's the same thing. There's no right and wrong. There's no good or bad. You don't know what reality is. So, you get stuff like this. Go ahead, throw out Patrick's there.
Whoops. Get over here.
Patrick Demo, $5 from my wife. finally, a game where I want to throw down those X cards. There you go. That's a good one. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, this is horrible. But what you run out of superlatives.
The green character in there, the goblin, whatever. That character looks amazingly like a woman that I went to art school with, who had an affair.
Really?
Who had an affair with my art teacher.
Oh, jeez, really?
I'm looking at that nose and like, fuck, I know that nose. Oh my god, Nancy, if you're out there, I hope it was fun. God, yeah, I mean, like, I'm telling you, that nose.
Nancy, was Nancy one of God's children?
She was something.
As Jack Nicholson said in Chinatown, is she a member of the Jewish persuasion? That is a very let's just say an ethnic nose.
Very. That is a profile I'll never forget.
I related to Jamie Farr, Edgelord. Yeah, that is a clinger nose for sure. All right, let's take a palate cleanser, shall we? Ready?
Yep, let's do this. I need it washed. Let's wash out the grain here.
I just got my gender changed on my driver's license in the free fucking state of Florida. My God, Ron DeSantis would be screaming right now if he knew about this. This little license now says female on it. It doesn't. Oh. I can't show you because then you would know way too much about me, but it says female. This was the last step in changing all of my documents. This was not easy. You're not even supposed to be able to do this in this state. Here's the loophole. Here's the loophole. Listen up. If you're replacing your driver's license, not renewing it, but replacing it because you lost it, they have to take all of your information from what they consider a primary document. A passport is considered a primary document, and you can self-identify on your passport, which means, loophole, you can self-identify on your Florida fucking driver's license. So my passport says female, and I showed it to them, and they made a bunch of copies, and they had a whole fucking team meeting in the back. I shit you not, there were 8 people that were like looking at it, looking at me, looking back, and I swear, I was like, I just felt like I was gonna cry. It's so humiliating sometimes to be in a hostile state. Like, if you live in a hostile state, you know what I'm talking about.
Dude,
I don't know how possible it is
with my wife or my daughter. I'm gonna end
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
I am gonna end you, or something.
So that's the shot.
Oh yeah.
You want to see the chaser?
Okay, let's bring this on.
Please be advised that the sex identifier on the replacement Florida driver's license issued to you on December 20th was improperly changed from male to female. Accordingly, that license is invalid and has been canceled.
Aww.
Thank you, Florida.
I feel better now.
The Florida DMV. Bum, 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 bum. Wom, wom. That's right. That's right. He was so happy, wasn't he, though? He was so happy.
Oh, his parade has been rained upon.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I saw Chris had one here. This is why it's important to never let up and take no quarter in this culture. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Just because Trump won doesn't mean we're safe. Yep. Honestly, it's also why when Trump brings up things like, let's rename the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. You know, when somebody's like, yeah, or they roll their eyes, just look at them and go, what's wrong with that? Don't you like our country? Put them on the fucking defensive. I don't care how realistic it is. Make them squirm, make them go apoplectic. Make them defend the country of Mexico. You know, that's what you're doing. Well, it belongs to, why? You like Mexico better than America? Well, maybe you should go to Mexico. Thank you, buddy. I think I saw another one down here. Ooh, yeah. Dark Knight of Hibernia again. You guys are killing it. €2. They're always looking for loopholes and other holes. Hey-oo. See, now that's where we need the rib shot. Well done, Dark Knight. Yes, exactly. Just awful. Just awful. That's who's being catered to by them.
That excitement was amazing, you know. And then, you know.
Yeah.
Then the truth and the reality hit in, and sanity crept in, and you know.
I love it. I love seeing folks like that just get smacked down. by life. No, zero sympathy. Okay, this is a video. You know, the spirit of D&D goes extinct.
Uh-oh.
And that's a good thing. Uh-oh. Let's listen to this. It's by Charles Landsberg. I think I have the source there. Yeah, that's the dude's name.
Just a content warning. Racism, sexism, queerphobia, particularly transphobia, ableism with mentions of slavery and rape.
It's always a good sign when you start your videos with a content warning.
As above, so below. With so many things, when a small group of people who have otherwise been marginalized gain some grounds, there is always a backlash that far exceeds the crime of progress gained by said group. Any step taken towards representation or agency is, at best, treated as a vicious crime against the norm, and at worst, a further degeneration away from the mythological golden era that fascists so love to point to.
So there we are. He's said the F word in the first minute. He's called all of you grognards fascists. All of us grognards fascists. Let's continue.
It was 2012 when actress Samantha Stenberg, who was only 12 years old at the time, was brutally harassed for appearing as the character Rue in the first Hunger Games film. A massive racist campaign of hatred directed at a child whose only crime was being a black girl playing a black girl. This was a year before the Black Lives Matter movement took off.
It's just they love rewriting history. I'm so tired of it. Couple of trolls online. It's not a massive campaign. You see them do it with the they do the same thing with January 6th. Oh, all these people died, and then you realize, like, well, wait a minute, who actually died that day? Oh, it was the one, MAGA woman, Ashley Babbitt, who got shot by a Capitol Police officer. But they love to gloss over that. Oh yeah, well that happened too. But yeah, so and so had a heart attack 2 weeks later. But so all of a sudden now they can say, yeah, do you know how many people died on January 6th? 10 people. How long is this fucking window open for? Oh, she got harassed. She got totally harassed. By who? 2 goofballs on Twitter that you should have blocked?
If I'm not mistaken, Jake Lloyd that's the name of the young actor that played Anakin.
Yeah.
He got harassed horribly.
Yes.
But we're not
far worse than this. Yeah.
Because he's a white boy.
Yeah. Yeah. And absolutely. But yeah, you're right. It's a young blonde white guy, not so young anymore, but yeah, who has had his troubles. Yeah, go ahead, DB. Yeah, my apologies. I feel like he's whispering in our butt. Thank you, DB. I've got a couple of F words for him, says Patrick. Yes, indeedy. There you go. Yeah, all I can say is I probably should have amped this up a little bit. I just scooped it. Right off of YouTube.
The harassment campaign known as Gamergate was already 2 years old when the hate campaign was launched against Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear for the crime of merely having a transgender character, Mizena, which was framed as shoehorning of social justice issues into the game.
So you can't say that you're shoehorning SJW stuff into games. That's a hate campaign. Okay. This is where the break is. This is where we'll just have to go our separate ways, because criticism to them is a hate campaign. What more can you say?
Well, everyone's guilty of it. They're guilty of it. Apparently we're guilty of it. What's the, what gives? You can't point out something knowing full well that you've been doing it yourself.
Yeah. The outrage is performative too. That is correct. You want to see Brozen's wife? Crazy Mouse's old character Brozen, that's his wife.
Hottie. She's a hottie.
That's Dara. Oh, cold morning light. Okay, now we're back.
I can give 1,000 examples of this behavior. Marginalized actors, marginalized characters cannot exist without being called political. Merely existing is, in and of itself, a crime.
Yeah, it's all about existing and not about the strategic replacement of, say, redheads with black people. Or we just say, hey, wait, what? This is a weird phenomenon. Why is this happening? Oh, it's a hate campaign. It's a hate campaign.
Children, creative teams, even fans who do so little as show a like for the art in question. At this point, I have to mention that I do speak of things like PC, console games, even sports under the larger aegis of art or media, in this video and in other places. If this bothers you, cope. The thing is that, historically speaking, marginalized people, whether in society or in art, face incredible backlash merely for existing. The scrutiny faced by marginalized people is outsized and never matches the scrutiny endured by, say, white cisgender heterosexual men in the arts. No matter how average, below average, or even bad said white cisgender heterosexual men in the arts happen to be, the hatred, vitriol, anger, and violence is unmatched.
Violence. What violence? Go ahead. Mac, $2. I quit the last Pathfinder vid game. Too much of the gay.
Clear out of here!
Thank you. Hungar, good to see you. Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
And of course, the modern sensibility surrounding marginalized people means that
you're gonna have to listen carefully, Hungar. We have somebody whose testosterone level is in probably single digits, maybe early double digits, maybe 15.
People performing their hatred of marginalized people cannot merely come out and say it. Innuendo Studios did do a fantastic video called The Death of Euphemism that unpacks societal backsliding in regards to how bigots speak about marginalized people. Go watch Innuendo Studios' whole playlist called The Alt-Right Playbook. It's fantastic. But for the sake of this video, let's pretend that
you can't guard us. Even if you have our playbook, you can't guard us. We're always open.
Modern society does at least have a very small amount of shame when it comes to bigotry. It does and it doesn't, but that's a different conversation. As a consequence, a lot of these violent harassment campaigns simply...
Again, you see, I hate these people, Rogan. I hate their guts. Violent. What does violence mean to you?
Violence means inflicting pain.
Means when I swing at you instead of...
Yes.
Stopping
right
a foot from your face, I make contact, right?
Yes.
That's violence.
That is violence.
We all understood this, right? Up until the last 20 years. All right, let's go ahead. I'll get the first one, you get the rest. Dark Knight. If they didn't have double D standards, they'd have no standards at all. Pearls before swine and dogs. You have to know when to walk away. Yeah, exactly.
Right. We want
the... right. That's Crazy Mouse's favorite. He does that all the time in real life. Yeah, if you were around here, he'd be like, right. Chris Miller, $5. This is time on Sprockets when we dance. Touch my monkey, Dieter. Touch him, love him. Loved Sprockets back in the day. Yeah, Mike Myers. Hungar, $2. Good to see you, buddy. I thought that was a chick on the thumbnail. Yeah. There you go. I got something for you, Hungar. I first gave it to Patrick. I'm going to give it to you now.
Bitter dregs.
Okay. Continuing.
They cannot state, I hate women, or seeing black people on screen makes me irrationally angry.
Patrick Demo, $2. This guy is the anti-Metatron, the YouTuber. He's only got like 400 subscribers. That's another thing too. It's so weird because they did a study on the political bias of all these social networks, and so many of them do lean right. So the ones you wouldn't expect, YouTube, for instance, the users of YouTube are more right-leaning than left-leaning. I mean, it's close, but if you went by YouTube's management, you'd think, they just open the doors for all these weirdos. Well, the problem is all of the guys on their side, they're either like this guy, okay, and they're so fey and so full of shit that normal people are just revolted by this. Like the delivery is one thing too, just the let's talk about the fascists and blah blah blah. Just the monotone, like, oh my god.
This guy is he going for the Werner Herzog sound?
Oh yeah. But he doesn't have the accent quite right. The accent has to be better than this. And yeah, there's some life in the Werner Herzog accent. This guy's just drones monotone. But like so many of these lefties that go on YouTube, they're good with the 150 character burn on Twitter. Not so good when they have to talk in front of a camera. It's because you can't hide what is inside of them, and that is nothing. They have no passion. They're a lot of ways compromised, in many ways evil. Some of them are very evil. Not all of them are evil. Some of them are misguided, but a lot of them are evil. That's why these people, like Brooklyn Dad from Twitter, like has a YouTube channel. It's awful. He has like 1 million followers on Twitter. He draws flies on YouTube because he has no personality. Because all their personality is writing out tweets or having somebody write out tweets for them. They can't do what we do here, what we're doing now, which is just be moderately entertaining. Or a lot of times they're like Jake, who's just a weirdo, who he can, I'll give this to Jake. He can carry his show.
For
barely.
what it is.
Yeah, for what it is. And, of course, he's hamstrung by the fact that he's high all the time. And even, we won't even get into his audience of perdos. And his questionable tweets, shall we say, in the past. But even somebody like him just kind of devolves over time. They start out on a false premise with their Bible Reloaded, him and Hugo or Helen or whatever the fuck their name is now. So they're starting from a foundation built on sand, and they've just kind of devolved. None of these people are any good. It's like a lot of people say like, well, I get tired of kind of like the anti-woke stuff, but look, Nerdrotic still going strong, Geeks and Gamers still strong. It's because they know how to entertain. This stuff at its core, how could this be entertaining? How could it be entertaining to listen to just a litany of false accusations against the majority of the population, the majority of the people who are going to be watching this? What do you like? Who do you think your audience is? I mean, I know who he's going for, but the people that come across this, they'll be like, ugh, this ain't for me.
They have to cloak a lot of their language in euphemism and dog whistles. The harassment campaign that was known as Gamergate started because of a hate campaign by a creep in August of 2014 against his former girlfriend, the game developer Zoe Quinn. He made a number of false accusations against Quinn regarding her game Depression Quest, which resulted in Quinn receiving harassment, death threats, rape threats, being doxxed. I'm not going to give you the full history of it. Okay.
Do we really have to turn the clock back to Gamergate? We all know what happened with Zoe Quinn. We all know Jim, Mr. Medicare's video, legendary 5 Guys. She was sleeping with 5 guys to get good reviews for her shitty game. It's not even out for debate. It happened. It was proven. Zoe Quinn is a goober. Like, fortunately, she's just kind of disappeared into the woodwork. But there's no denying she's a grifter. Talk about grifters. She did a Kickstarter that wasn't even fulfilled. Then she did, like some depression quest, which is some like a fucking walking simulator for hangdog retards. And she allegedly, almost colloquially proven, had sex acts with like 5 guys. Just watch the 5 guys video from Internet Aristocrat, aka Mr. Medicare, aka Jim. It's like I said, it's been proven. She doesn't even bother to deny it anymore. Go ahead, Dark Knights, yeah. $5 Euro Dark Knight. I'm a Spurg, and as monotone as I am, stagecraft me to learn how to speak with some flair. Yeah. Why are these guys so bloody dull? Just why? They have nothing to say. Look, if I had to read like farm index reports, I'd probably be like this too. I would be, well, okay. Corn is up. Wheat is down. There's an old saying, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And try as they might, this is the hand they're dealt. It's a chicken shit hand that they have to try to put down your throat. So you can only make it so, let's put it this way. You can be bombastic, but the more bombastic you are, the bigger the lie you have to say. Kind of like what like Jake does with a lot of his content. Jimothy for €2, is that euro, pound sterling? Something over there. Some kind of funny money, Monopoly money. It was actually 2 buses full of guys. 5 named one. Oh boy. Allegedly. All allegedly. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that Dark Knight. Yeah, she drove her ex to. She said he led her around the room with a curious handhold. Let's just say, we'll say a built-in handhold. All kinds of allegations. And you know what was the worst thing about that? His name was Alec Holenko, I think, was it not? Alec Holenko's own sister sided with Zoe Quinn after he took himself out.
That's awful.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, lurker. Swimming in my wake. Yes, exactly. His sister said he was scum. Yeah, and all the accusations were true. Yeah. If you want to see, when they call this the woke mind virus, that's what we're talking about. To where your own sister will deny you to a proven liar.
They truly feast on their own.
Yeah.
They have no loyalty to each other unless they're all pointing fingers at somebody else.
Well, nobody passes the purity test. No. It's a circular firing squad. It doesn't mean they won't go after us, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
But think about that. Like I said, it's not just a saying. It is a virus. It's a virus of the mind that you can't. A lot of people have a tough time shaking and coming out of. Your own sister sides with a liar, an absolute liar, who forced you to kill yourself, your brother to kill himself. That is just horrible.
I bet the family feels fantastic about that.
Yeah.
That's a good sibling right there.
You know what? That sister's she's gonna have to be dealing with that. One day, I hope they wake up enough to realize just how awful that was that they did that.
Gamergate here, but this harassment and violence spilled out against many other women in the gaming sphere, and
again, violence. Who was hurt? Explain to me. Who was touched? Who was hurt?
Of course, the hate and harassment off the bat gave Gamergate a very negative image in the media and specifically in social media.
Gonna read this
The online
someday, Adino.
abusers,
Yep.
trolls, doxers, etc. began claiming that the harassment campaign wasn't about harassment and threats and violence, but instead about ethics in video game journalism.
Yeah, it was. Because if you're a journalist, you're not supposed to be influenced by somebody who's shaking her, her bags at you.
The phrase ethics in video game journalism became a shorthand for I'm being a violent, bigoted asshole, but I'm going to try my very best to convince you otherwise by the use of some linguistic legerdemain. Ultimately, the abuse and hatred and bigotry was entirely too evident for the world at large, and I like to believe that people look back at Gamergate as the violent, misogynistic movement it was. But Gamergate aside, I am interested in looking at the little bit of legerdemain that was...
We used legerdemain twice in within a minute. Yeah, Cal, Wikipedia on Zoe is odd. It's odd because they protect her. Yeah, you can't give a fair. That's why don't ever give money ever to Wikipedia. Let it go bankrupt, and then somebody like an Elon Musk will buy it. Even like one of the founders of Wikipedia said it's been ruined by wokeness now. Don't ever give Wikipedia a dime. They always beg for it when you go on the site.
Ethics in video game journalism. It was a small lie, but an effective one. We're not violent, you see, they say. We have legitimate concerns, you see, they say.
Nice picture of all the FBI agents there.
Rue wasn't really black in Hunger Games. Our racist backlash was justified, they say. Xena is an unnecessary shoehorning in of a transgender character. We're not transphobic. She's just a bad character. And besides, we don't want to hear about transgender characters. That's shoehorning in issues that don't belong.
Nobody wants to hear about a transgender character in a video game. The way they shoehorn it in, it just nobody wants to hear it. I mean, it's so clunky and stupid.
How's that working out for the new Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. Well, the new one is actually, I don't think they had a tranny in it. The only bad thing I think they ended up having in the new Baldur's Gate, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, here, was that you could have sex with a bear. If you remember that one. Other than that, people say it's okay. It's actually okay. So I think they steered clear of a lot of this, the worst of this stuff. And then there was just a couple of minor things that I guess people overlooked, which I certainly do understand. Go ahead, pick up our buddy there, Hungar. $5. He keeps using that word, and I don't think he understands the meaning of that word. But I could show him the meaning. It would be my pleasure.
You called down the thunder, well, now you got it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think he keeps talking about violence, doesn't he? I don't think he's ever been in a real tussle in his life.
They say political has become a strange shorthand for any actor or character that isn't straight, white, cisgender, and male. The original spirit of Dungeons and Dragons, females and wheelchairs.
Oh, God.
D&D has never been particularly free from this nonsense. Gary Gygax, the foremost creator of D&D, was well known for his sexism and misogyny. He said as much. In Europa 1975, he explicitly says, I have been accused of being a nasty old sexist male chauvinist pig, for the wording in D&D isn't what it should be. There should be more emphasis on the female role, more non-gendered names, and so forth. I thought perhaps these folks were right and considered adding woman in the raping and pillaging section, in the whores and tavern wenches chapter, the special magical part dealing with hags and
Gary, we
crows,
loved you.
and thought perhaps of adding an appendix on medieval harems, slave girls, and going Viking. Damn right, I am sexist. It doesn't matter to me if women get paid as much as men, get jobs traditionally male, and shower in the men's locker room. They can jolly well stay away from wargaming in droves for all I care. I've seen many a good wargame, and wargamer spoiled thanks to the fairer sex.
Boom. I love it. Gary was such a badass. Go ahead. Patrick, $2. Isn't doing so well for Dragon Age. Veilguard. Yes.
That's Dragon Age. Okay.
That's the one where you do a barm, where you have to do push-ups if you misgender someone or something.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was
it's been a complete debacle. And not a cheap one either.
Thank you, Patrick, for correcting me.
Yeah. It's It's been a very expensive lesson. But yes, these people seem to have endless amounts of money, don't they? Remember the little broom at the bottom, Rogan? That'll always sweep away any chat that's up there if you're having trouble, if it's jumping on you too hard. Yeah, I love this quote by Gary. He's more or less... how can you say somebody's sexist when he says, it doesn't matter to me if a woman gets paid as much as a man, gets jobs traditionally male, and shower in the men's locker room? He's just saying personally, when he's going to a war game, he's probably had it happen a couple of times where there's a woman there, and maybe he thought like, oh, this is great. And then maybe after playing a game or two, he said, well, this isn't really great. That's his experience. And as far as him saying, damn right, I'm sexist, that's him tweaking the noses. So, F off. He spoke his mind and open carried, based. Yeah, yeah. Oh, man, there's so many things I wish I would have asked him when he was doing that Q&A thread and we were still all around on EN World, Eric Noah's board. Mm.
And you can spin this bullshit as hard as you like, but this is sexism. This is misogyny. Racism is baked into D&D lore. Light elves are by essentially good and dark elves, drow, are by essentially evil. Light dwarves are by essentially good and dark dwarves, duergar, are by essentially evil. Gnomes versus deep gnomes, you get the idea.
This voice, he keeps talking about violence, this voice makes me want to punch something, doesn't it? I mean, it really is getting under my skin.
If this guy was my neighbor, I would tell my wife, "You're not talking to this guy." Because when you talk to him, I just want to go over and smack him.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him anymore.
Yeah. Just
don't make him wave to me.
Jaw completely unhinged. Oh my Lord! It's not just the tone. It's the Fey level, volume level too.
Yeah.
Where we talk like this. We talk. In earlier editions, this was far more explicit. It's just that erudite ivory tower.
Yeah.
I don't even want to call it an accent. Affectation, I think you could call it.
I think that's more appropriate.
Yeah, it's an affectation, I think.
Obviously, the outliers exist. I love Drizzt. But they serve to highlight this to you.
Why do you love Drizzt?
Oh, yeah. Hold
you love him because he's black?
Yeah, hang on a second here.
Yeah. What's going on?
You're calling something, but you're going to make the exception for Drizzt because you got a crush on the dude? I don't know.
Interesting.
When Tasha's Cauldron of Everything came out in 2020, there were, again, huge grumblings about D&D stepping back from the bioessentialist morality of its races.
You want to play a game where you kill things and take their treasure. And you have retards like this talking about bioessentialist reality. Racism at the gaming table. Sexism at the gaming table. Fuck off.
And the man-children yet again threw their toys out of the cot. It was a repeating pattern of D&D has a gross element. D&D has a gross
Good to see you, brother.
Addressed or fixed. D&D includes more inclusive roles. Grognards come out of the woodwork to complain. Aluta continua. Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel came out in 2022. And the racists came out in droves to complain about how a book written by people of color for people of color was somehow, again, shoehorning black people into spaces where they don't belong.
Well, you got something right. When you look at the sales, it looks like it was for the it was for people of color because nobody bought that book. And that's probably about the population, the gaming population of quote unquote people of color, which, as we all know, is a joke. I'm sorry, but this is reality. We don't do fantasy here. This is a book. I don't want to say, hey, go back and watch my great early videos. They weren't very great, but look, they were raw and but
they were truthful.
They were truthful, and they did show what this book was about, and the Citadel itself was unabashed communism.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Unabashed communism. Like, so much so, it was almost, it was laughable. Obviously, it kickstarted the channel. But it was communism. Go ahead, put our buddy up there, Hungar. No one cares. I put the sexy in sexism. Yes, you do, brother.
Absolutely.
Yes, you do.
On guard.
Mr. 18 Charisma himself, Hungar, the Stavarian.
Oh, sorry, no, they said It was being political, blah blah ethics in video game journalism.
No, you're being retarded. We wouldn't say you're being political anymore. We'd say you're a fucking retard. Nobody is listening to you. Well, I mean, the people that always listen to you still do, but just so many more people are just waking up. I got news for you. They become subscribers of my channel. Every day I get people, I'm glad I found this channel. Thankfully, somebody's saying what I want to say. Somebody's seeing what I'm seeing. And you're just preaching the same old nonsense to the same old people who don't care. I mean, they agree with you, but those people aren't going to, they're not going to support your channel. Communists don't do that. They don't help each other. It's all a big competition with them to see who's the most pure, as we said earlier. It's I guarantee, what, 400 or 500 subscribers you may have closing in on. Half of them are human bots, and the other half are degenerate weirdos. Just complete and utter degenerates.
Basically, there has never been a so-called golden age of D&D.
Yes, there
D&D
is.
has always had its problems. White Cishet Boys...
Golden age.
I have to ask this. Do we know if this guy has ever played any role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons? I mean, what do we know about his background? Because this guy's talking a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a lot of videos, doesn't have a lot of subscribers. Like I said, I mean, you can see why. He's just not very entertaining. Chris, it's a good one, Chris. What's his T level? 00, baby. There's a way. There you go. That just gave him 0.01. If he was listening, he just got a little.
Excluding or creeping on girls in the hobby has always been a problem. The exclusion of black and queer people in the hobby has always been a problem.
That's a lie.
It's like you listen to people. It's like, no, that didn't happen. No, you're lying. And it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't. They don't care.
Oh,
they don't care. And then you start to realize, like, oh, they're not misguided. They're evil. They're evil. They know it's a lie, and they're evil, and they're just promulgating it.
I remember back in the 90s, when my buddies owned that game store, comic book store, and we did these little conventions in the area. You know,
I remember I went to one of those. We before even knowing each other, we probably rubbed shoulders.
I just remember, like, you know, the girls weren't included. When girls walked into the room, all the dudes got quiet and stared.
Yeah,
like the girl.
She gonna come over here? Yeah, oh my God, she may come over here. You know,
sucking their guts and hide their
exactly.
Their spandex shorts.
Get their hair all like
they were welcome, and people of color were welcome.
Yeah,
you know, and this was this was 40K and stuff like that.
Yeah, never. Just so you were back then. Just they don't understand the. Thank you, Mercurius, my ear trumpet. Gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much, buddy. Much appreciated. It really is. You keep the love going, and we thank you. Dungeon of Terra, go ahead. The old bioessentialism. You can't have racial traits. Yep. Strong human lifted 500 kilograms and it nearly killed him. A silverback has the strength to lift 950 kilos. Yikes. Strong things. Thank you, Dungeon of Terra, for a 5 pounds. I finished Zulu. He makes me want to watch it again. Oh, great movie. Michael Caine. Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, I don't know. What were we talking about?
Well, just the inclusion of the exclusion of women, people of color, stuff like that.
It's like they don't know the social situation. It's weird because we lived through it and we're like, oh, they don't understand what things were like back then.
It's insanity.
You couldn't do what you do now and just say, hey, everybody, I play D&D. Literally, people would turn to you and say, like, what the fuck? Half of them would go, what's a D&D? All the women would go, what's a D&D?
Yeah.
And then you'd have to explain it to them, and then you'd see their faces getting like,
the reality gets in.
Yeah, the reality. It would be like a flush of like, oh my God, and then you would feel like this big.
Yeah.
I think I did this one time, and in the words of Merlin, never again. to a girl like in high school, like early high school, and they were just like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Don't talk about this shit amongst people, amongst the normies."
We couldn't find anyone to play D&D with us.
Yeah.
You know, me and my cousin back in the day. No one wanted to do that.
Yeah. You think we'd have kicked some fucking brother out just because he's black and he's like, "Yeah, I read Tolkien. You know, I do this." We'd be like, "Dude, we got a seat for you.
Warm up your chair right now."
Like, yeah. Because back then, I mean, it's. I'm not going to repeat that lie. Like, "Oh, we didn't even notice race." Yeah, we didn't notice race. We'd have probably, you know, we'd have said afterward. We'd have been like, "Isn't that cool? We got a brother playing D&D. I didn't think brothers played D&D." Yeah. You know, but it would be like, "Oh my god, this is great!" You know, like, and it's like, you know, nowadays, you know, that would be considered a capital offense. I don't give a fuck. But it would all be like goods, like it would be like good feelings. We'd have been like, "Holy shit, I've never seen a brother play D&D."
We were never gatekeeping that.
Yeah. So far from that. Have you noticed the normies are leaving the hobby now? It's hard for me to quantify, Matt. You know, I think it has to come out in their sales, doesn't it? I mean, wizard sales I'm talking about. It's definitely not what it was at the height of the pandemic, and that's to be expected. But this whole new edition, it's just not a big deal. And I think it's just a kind of a big letdown. And I think the whole thing is just going to get so tired in a couple of years. It's going to get so very, very tired. And normies are just going to... Some of them are going to keep playing, and they're just going to reject all the stupid stuff, and they'll do it quietly, and you won't ever hear of them online. They'll be like, "Oh, what's this Tasha's book?" or, you know, whatever the equivalent of that will be in this new edition. They'll be like, "Oh, this is stupid. Why don't we just go back to playing like we did 10 years ago?" It'll almost be like, for them, it'll be like us going back to earlier editions of D&D. I think some of these normies are going to go, why don't we go back, kick it old school to 2014 5e, which... All right, you know, it doesn't quite pass muster in my book, but I can see what they're saying. Like, let's get it when it may have not been a perfect rule set, but it wasn't hamstrung so thoroughly by a bunch of just extraneous bullshit.
I don't know. 4th edition is still my favorite. Har har har. I did like it though.
It had certain things about it that you know. Like I said, it was kind of a tactical war game, but you know, they really, when I look back at it though, I'm like, man, it's all about combat in 4th edition, just all about it. And I'm just like, there's no dungeon crawling at all. It's all about combat.
They got rid of all the flavor skills, like, you know, performing and stuff like that. All that stuff was gone, if I remember properly.
It's just because it had nothing to do with combat. It was so thoroughly a combat simulator. You know, it made combats. It gave everybody something to do, you know, to the detriment of a lot of other things. So, you know, that's a discussion for another day. Yeah, RPG Elite, a black roleplay. Yeah, I've watched that video he did explaining why you don't see many. Yeah, he has, and I actually shouted him out, and he was very kind. He said, "Thank you so much for doing that." You know, I don't think he gets involved in the culture war stuff. I get a sense he's pretty Christian, you know, so I may even probably cuss more than he likes. But I think generally speaking, if you took us to our core, RPG Elite and us, we'd agree on a lot of things. Yeah, and he said, look, there's a reason black people don't play RPGs, and a lot of it's cultural.
Yeah.
Back to our original thing with the imaginary brother coming to us in 1985, we'd have been like, "Oh, we didn't think you guys played this game." Well, they didn't. I mean, by and large. And it was just cultural.
Yeah. Come on and join us. What kind of soda do you like?
Yeah. Look, it's just the way it was. It's say what you want, but the brother culture, you know, to a large extent is very macho. You know, overly, you know, so it's, you know, you look at a place like Chicago, it's violent, it's petty, and we don't want that kind of masculinity. You know, to where we're shooting each other for, you know, stepping on, you know, your Air Jordans or something like that. But in the same respect, you can see why a culture like that, wait a minute, I got to read a book this thick you know, like Tolkien, you know, to get a primer on this, or, you know, Howard or Lear or, you know, whoever. And then I got to sit around and, you know, do a lot of thinking and, you know, a lot of expressing and dice rolling, like math and stuff. Like, nah. You know, I'm just going to go out and roll and try to bang chicks. You know, I can see that's, you know, back then, that's probably what your average brother would have done. And I wouldn't have blamed him one bit. And it's also, if you didn't get that, you were crunched on the other side in the black community by the religious.
You're right.
People don't. I love the left when they just completely always take shots at Christianity. And then you look at in the black community in America, 81% Christian, mostly, of course, like Baptist, you know, faiths like that. I love whenever I see them doing that. I'm like, oh, so you think 80% of black people are fools? Well, I didn't say that. No, you just said if you're a fool if you believe in Christ, you know, the Savior. So 80% of black people think Christ is Savior. So what's going on here? It's a good way to trap you know, people like Jake, you know, these atheist idiots. But back to our point, you know, we all know what the Satanic Panic did, you know, and I could see where, you know, if you're a brother or a sister back then, you wouldn't even want to let your parents know, you know, you'd have gotten the switch. So yeah, that's why they didn't play, but we would have welcomed them.
If anything, the original spirit of D&D is this: a bunch of privileged white boys who have had their preconceptions and prejudices.
Privileged white boys. What are you? I mean, he speaks like an Indian prince, you know?
Yes.
I am the Raja. I am the Raja of Retardville.
Privileged white boys.
Privileged, all of you privileged white boys.
Why don't you throw cisgender in there too? Why don't you just layer that stuff on us?
Back to what I said at the top, Rogan. They hate your guts and they want to see you dead.
I like my guts.
Yep. But they want to see your wife. They want to see your daughter at the beck and call of a bunch of braying hyenas.
That bothers me.
Yes. That's part of the package. They hate you. They want to see you dead and gone. For them, it's like, well, you've had your turn. Now it's going to be us. We're going to visit upon you everything we imagined you did, even though we didn't really, you know, do that by and large. A couple exceptions, of course, slavery, you know, all that stuff. All that stuff that nobody defends in real life. But I would like, when do we finally get over that? You know, is it going to be another 200 years, or when can we stop talking about it?
Against other.
And again, how about those Barbary pirates? We going to talk about them, their slavery? We're going to talk about the people who sold the slaves for gunpowder and horses? Own people? No. We'll never talk about that.
People reinforced in a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
And everyone else having to put up with their bigotry, violence, or creepiness, or alternatively
creepiness,
handle them into reality and adulthood. This is the original spirit of D&D. There is a large community.
All right, so you can see what he's doing here. I'll just a little bit longer, you know, and then we'll get out of here. Do you want to see what the original spirit of D&D is? And for once, Hollywood was bang on. Stranger Things. Yeah. That's the spirit of original D&D. 4 kids, one of them black. Proving our point. Yes, if you were a black nerd and had, you know, permission, you would have been very welcome. Doing what they did in the parents' basements, having fun, eating snacks, laughing, growing up.
Being creative.
Yeah.
Using their imaginations.
Yeah. But that's privileged white boys. He would call the characters in Stranger Things privileged white boys.
I wasn't privileged.
Yeah.
I was just a kid.
I always love when they say that. It's show them like pictures out of like the poor areas of like Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Like, where's their privilege? they got robbed on their whole privilege deal.
Where's my reparations? I wasn't privileged.
Yep. I don't know.
I'm just grateful that this guy's only carrying 400 followers.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And whatever what he does in real life, I wish him success. Maybe he should get out more, close his mouth, open his eyes and his ears.
Won't do any good. Like I said, there's a reason Stranger Things caught on. Everybody who was alive and played back then said, "Ooh, they got that."
They did.
They captured that.
They did. It was exciting to see that.
Yeah, the shag rug, the carpeting, the table, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Was bang on.
The fighting between the characters about their characters.
Yeah. All the petty little squabbles and like leading to like hurt feelings and all that stuff.
I miss that.
Yes.
I miss being that age.
It was bang on. So this guy has no clue. I guarantee you he's some 30-year-old overeducated. And by that, I mean, he didn't receive a proper education. He just read a few books.
I'm willing to bet that's not his real. I want to say how he speaks. I don't think that's real. I don't think that's his. I think he uses that.
As we said earlier, it's an affectation.
Yes.
Yeah. To make. Yeah, Mac, not overeducated, miseducated. Yeah, brainwashed, for lack of a better word. These are the people where it's dangerous because. People will think that they're educated and not realize like, oh, they've been just as brainwashed, but people trust them. And you've heard what he thinks of you.
Of these boys who grew into man-children who still hold on to these ideas into adulthood. Any challenge to their precious darlings is met with the exact childish reactionary cries and grumblings and mythologization of, back in my day I walked a D&D in 5 feet of snow uphill both ways. It's nonsense, it's childish, and it's
the ironic thing is, like, I remember, like, because we always get pounded. So I distinctly remember walking through like snow up to my knees, to go play like some kind of I don't know what it was, what it would have been, but it was like a role-playing game of some kind.
Right.
Maybe it was like Axis and Allies, who knows? But you know what I think it was? I think it was Call of Cthulhu. I think the first time we played Call of Cthulhu, it was like in a snowstorm, and I remember going to Gavin Morgan's house,
right.
like walking down. He lived a couple blocks away. As the crow flies, I would cut through the churchyard, and I do remember that. So yeah, there is something to that. Like, holy shit, I'm gonna go play something that sounds so cool. Like, that's the promise. Little did I know we were just being evil, privileged white boys.
Necessary. The Golden Age is a myth.
No, it's not.
In his 2022 book, Fascist Mythologies.
Federico Finkelstein. I'm sorry, but that name alone, I mean, you would get drummed out of my library.
Is that line in that Cheech and Chong movie? Goddamn Finkelstein shit, kid.
I mean, how do you? Hey, dear, I'm reading this book. It's called Fascist Mythology. Oh, who's the author? Federico Finkelstein. Oh, very funny. Haha. Must be a joke book, right? No. I think it's serious. This guy sounds like he's never seen a woman, let alone touched one. Yes, exactly, Patrick. Yeah, you can smell them. I can smell them a mile away. I had a tweet on X, a Zeet, whatever you want to call it these days. We need the gym locker back, both proverbial and literal, to start stuffing these guys into. They need to be fearful of going around saying this stuff. He talks about violence, and I'm not talking about violence, but he needs to be fearful of being stuffed into the proverbial gym locker.
He's the 26-year-old at the campus with his closed cigarettes, going to parties, sitting on 18-year-olds.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know, talking with that his swank there.
Everybody treats him with like reverence because he says the right things.
But they know he's a perv.
God, there's a guy like that I work with. He's in his mid-40s. He comes over to the poor girl that I work next to. You know, she's younger. She's like in her, towards 30. And it's like an after-school special. He'll come over and be like, "Oh yeah, let's talk about this pop culture thing." And then at the end it'll be like, "Yeah, but racism, huh? You know, it sucks." You know, he'll like shoehorn all this stuff in. I'll just be I'll be sitting there just not listening, shaking my head, like, "Are you fucking real? Like, you are a 44-year-old dude. What are you trying to win over this girl? It's like you're married, ding dong.
Yeah,
you're trying to get her on your side. Are you that desperate?" You think you have to go, win the hearts and minds one by one in the fucking, 4th floor accounting department? Jeez. Go ahead, put that up there. Canadian hiking pole. $1 donation. Thank you for your donation. I'm going to give you some...
Bitter dregs.
We still love it anyway. The Badger, make dodgeball great again. Yeah, yes. We lost something when we stopped climbing ropes in gym class and playing dodgeball and getting hit in the dome or the nose.
Something about pain building character.
Yeah, and the avoidance. Like, I don't want to get hit, so I got to get better at avoiding it.
I'm all over the place. Figure, stop doing that.
You want me to? Would you having a convulsion there, Rogan? It's all right. Jeez. You're just going one to the other, one to the other. I'm like, boy, he really likes those two.
A seizure.
Dis DB, $5. Need to go to a gay bar after this to get some masculinity back. Yes, exactly. Yeah, he must be insufferable to be around in real life. Yeah, these people will tell him all the good, right things in their head. All the people in his life hate his guts. They hate him. Absolutely. Absolutely hate his guts. Canadian hiking pole.
Did it again.
We did it again. We'll let it go this time. Thank you, though, for your donation. $1 Canadian. That's a little less than $1. It's okay. We're not. But he follows it up, and he's got something to say. Mr. Canadian hiking pole. This guy sounds like he chugs Grey Poupon from a phallus chalice. Ooh, boy.
I like that.
It's very alliterative. I like it. I like it very much. We like it very much. Nicely done. Dark Knight. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Absolutely.
That's right. It's the great Rip Torn, right?
Yep.
That was Rip Torn. Thank you.
Federico Finkelstein writes.
Federico Finkelstein writes. Pause for laughter. Come on.
For fascism, myth was reality, or was realer than the real. Fascist notions of the leader, the nation, power, and violence were steeped in mythic imagery and the fantasy of transcending history. A mythologized primordial past would inspire the heroic overthrow of a debased present to achieve a violently redeemed future. The mythological past remembered by the reactionary man-child fighting against progress never
hard to see why this guy only has 400 subs, right?
Person who likes
Jeez.
old school is a fascist, and there are people who genuinely enjoy old school D&D for the sake of enjoying old school D&D. Overwhelmingly, though, the old school reactionaries, the so-called grognards, by far take up all the oxygen in the room when it comes to talk about wargaming or AD&D. And of course, nothing pisses on the batteries of the Golden Age mythmakers more than when people come out of the woodwork talking about how bad Gary Gygax's sexism was. My examples have not been exhaustive. Any person who writes about history of D&D, honestly,
how did it manifest? I mean, just the we talk about the harlot table in the first edition. I mean, it's like, how did this affect everyone at the table?
It didn't. This guy is trying to manifest it by saying it.
Yeah. he doesn't realize this, but there was a time, and that time is even still now, that women just don't like this kind of stuff. I know more women like it now, and that's fine.
That's great.
That's great, or good, or maybe not so good, depending. But look, my wife plays, my daughter plays, and they are great players.
Yes, they are.
And if you find the ones that get it and understand and don't want to inflict a bunch of modern day nonsense, getting back to my, coworker, hey, let's play this, D&D game, but it's really all about racism, and fighting racism and sexism, right? Am I right, everybody? Everybody like, what the fuck? Yeah, but the good women and girls that play, they get it. They read, some of the Appendix N stuff, and they're like, okay, I'll just kind of be a female version of, as best I can, of this type of character. Let's go. Let's roll.
I've been met with the same levels of vitriol, threats, and abuse as before. Aside, I'd argue, if anything, the true golden age of D&D, especially from a financial perspective, happened during the 5e explosion that took place in large part due to Critical Role and Dimension 20, which saw the increase of players interested in story-driven...
Yeah, they have to rewrite history. It's like, no, you understand what golden ages are, what silver ages are, right? And in like comics, no, you can't be a golden age when the golden age was in the past, you dummy. I know history started in, roughly 2014 with you, but not the rest of the world. Go ahead,
Did we get this one yet?
Nope.
All right.
Nope, we're good. Mythic history, said the communist. Oy vey. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I think we're caught up in that regard. I'll grab this one, buddy. Whoops. Those family members have fallen to propaganda, says Cal Vanoni. Thank you, buddy. Ooh, Cal with a rare super chat.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. He's on the clock, and he's donating his payback.
Damn.
That is a man. Patrick Timo. Oh boy. This guy has pinups of Jason Tondro above his bed. I need to, for super chats like these, I need to get the Team America, with Gary throwing up as a mouse dropping. Thank you very much, Patrick Timo. Oh boy, Jason Tondro above your bed.
Games,
that is a nightmare.
Or mixed tier games, or God forbid, just players who want to mess around, but a side over. People are exhausted by the old god grumbling about back in my day, and some of these grumblers are younger than me. Back in your day when you were in diapers, I was 13 being kicked out of my house for owning polyhedral dice because they're satanic. I lived through satanic panic, a real moral panic. This pseudo-moral war the conservatives and grognards and bigots are waging is entirely artificial. Huh?
No. You guys, this is the Satanic Panic 2.0. You just don't want to realize you're on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
You're imposing your morals onto stuff that should be coming out of all the literature in Appendix N. You're trying to police it. You're trying to prevent, you want privileged white boys to stop playing because you think they're bad.
You're censoring.
Yeah, you're censorship. You're all about censorship. It's just, it's the old meme of the fat Nazi. Are we the baddies? He just doesn't have the self-reflection to realize, I don't care how erudite you think your fucking accent is. You're a goon. You're a retarded goon who wants to see your worldview everywhere at the point of a sword. And that's all there is to it. You're a very simple person. I can sense you from across the ocean. Mac Thompson, $5. Never liked Critical Role. You and me both, brother. Dungeons and Daddies is way funnier. I don't think I ever watched that either. Beth, Ron is my D&D spirit totem, okay? Also, this guy is the very definition of a wanker.
True story.
I like that. Thank you, Mac. He's a wanker. You need to be British to say that properly, I think. Oh, he's a wanker. OGG. I have Death Wish in the player for after the show. Well, you're going to need it, brother. You've lost a few. Sorry. This is pain.
Are not the victims.
You're going to need a little bit of
Nobody
TRT.
Took anything from them.
Eat a steak.
The inclusion of queer people,
Watch
and
Dirty
women,
Harry.
people of color, and disabled people did less than zero to them. People actually making fun of the old gods bullshit strikes a very delicate nerve, apparently. Disrespect, they cry. I'm reminded of Autistic Abby's Tumblr post that reads, sometimes people use respect to mean treating someone like a person, and sometimes they use respect to mean treating someone like an authority. And sometimes people who are used to being treated like an authority say, if you won't respect me, I won't respect you. And they mean, if you won't treat me like an authority, I won't treat you like a person. And they think that they're being fair, but they aren't. And it's not okay. A quote which I feel...
This is the kind of guy that would cry about doing emotional labor. Have you ever heard that thing these days?
No,
emotional labor?
No, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing with these people. Yeah, like don't make me like. It usually comes from like feminists saying like, it's not my job to educate you, stop demanding my emotional labor to educate you. Find someone else to educate you on why I'm such a colossal cunt.
Do these people still have? They also have time blindness.
It's an interesting combination. Yeah, don't do emotional labor, but you can be time blind. This is the kind of guy that would talk about that.
It typifies the way privileged people in D&D spaces treat marginalized people. You cannot demand respect from people you've politicized, othered, and gatekept.
Othered. That's another word they use. In fact, you saw it. We call them NPCs for a reason, okay? Because I didn't go through it because we spent enough time on it. But in the Sly Flourish book, there's a whole thing. I'll bring it up. He said othering. What does that say? Othering. Okay? They all go off of the same... It's funny, he talked about the alt-right playbook. Gee, they all use the same buzzwords. It's all about colonialism, othering, grognards. You see it so much on X these days, mostly, like anti-Trump stuff. It's like they are complete brain-dead automatons, hence the NPC meme.
The emerald elephant in the room. I am not going to talk about Elon Musk. I don't care. Let him buy D&D, let him not buy D&D. Wizards of the Coast owns D&D and I loathe them about as much as I do Elon Musk. Both take up too much space in this conversation as it is. People appealing to Musk to buy D&D to save it are like people asking an arsonist to buy a house to stop it from burning down. Also, Musk can't save D&D in the same way WotC can't save D&D, in the same way that the Grognards can't save D&D. Pandora's box is open. The circumstantial barriers to escapism. An interesting overreaction among the bigots, conservatives, and Grognards, Venn diagram that however you wish, was when the wheelchair was introduced to D&D. It was 2019, and Sarah Thompson just posted about her concept of introducing a wheelchair into D&D, and the internet exploded. Escapism, immersion, and suspension of disbelief were all concepts thrown around as if we weren't all playing a game about fucking dragons, and in some cases fucking dragons. How am I supposed to play a wizard?
He just said playing a game about fucking dragons and sometimes fucking dragons. Blink and you would have missed it.
Yes.
That's what he said.
That is what he said.
Did we not just talk about romancing monsters?
Yes, we did.
Boy, it's almost like they all work from the same set of principles.
I thought they're all on the same mailing list.
Fucking a dragon. All right, so people's introduction to dragons, you know, other than the Puff the Magic Dragon or whatever back in our day. But like for us growing up, The Hobbit, either the book or the animated movie.
Smaug was scary.
Yeah, Smaug is scary. Voiced by, was it like Theodore or something? Yeah, very cool voice. Or Dragon Slayer.
Yes.
Great movie.
That is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. I love that he had to kill, like, you got to kill the babies too. You know, you go up there, you got to kill the hatchlings. Like, yes, you did. Damn right you do.
Galen Brad Warden.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep. I mean, I want everybody to hear that again. So I'm gonna go back just a couple of seconds, okay? I want you to listen closely.
Internet exploded. Escapism, immersion, and suspension of disbelief were all concepts thrown around as if we weren't all playing a game about fucking dragons, and in some cases fucking dragons.
Yeah.
You heard, right? Creep, weirdo, disgusting degenerate. That's what you are.
Oh, God.
Disgusting. Fucking good Lord. How do you even do that? Asterion Moloch, $20, my friend. We got to find something for this guy. We got to find something for him. Ooh, I'll give you one of my favorites, if you'll allow me, Rogan.
Oh, absolutely.
It's becoming one of my new favorites.
I love knowledge. Hey, Double D!
So I had someone on X get angry at me in his DMs for straight washing a character that had
I'm learning so much.
Sword lesbian energy after saying said character had a husband. The twist here is I made the character. I was told I was still wrong. How?
Well, shame on you. Obviously you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They'll make you pull your hair out because they'll make you think you're the insane ones. And you'll look around and you'll see people nodding their head, and just because they're in the same tribe as them, they'll be nodding and saying, yeah, what's wrong with that? And you'll be like, but that's not true, or but I made that, or but it's what happened in so many totalitarian societies, mostly communist ones, where they would change reality. Like Stalin said, show me the man, I'll show you the charge. You could just create things whole cloth. And as long as it served the state, not really the state, the elites in the state, because there's always people that get rich. That's what these dummies don't realize. Like, there is a ruling elite rich class in socialism and communism. They just, you just have no chance of getting there, even if you're a good soldier. Yeah. Talking about effing dragons. What a creepy weirdo.
How am I supposed to play a wizard with the powers of a god if someone exists in this world that makes me a little bit sad? I'm not going to beat around the bush, it's pathetic.
But that's what they're doing, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, well, you know, okay, I can't do this because it makes you sad. Do we need the X card now? I can't play the game I want.
Yeah.
And that we're all sitting around the table and do it because you, the one person over there, decided to be a spurg and hit like, where's my X card at? I don't like that. You said cookies. I don't like cookies. I'm scarred.
Yeah. The crazy people are driving the bus.
Use of escapism was widely used throughout the various bigotries, covering everything from ableism, racism, queerphobia. The barriers to escapism are always so fascinatingly variable. While magic and manticores are somehow acceptable things to suspend your belief over, a queer person somehow robs you of that little pleasure. The fact that D&D never really solved how centaurs would handle ladders is something utterly ignored by even the most devout grognard.
What was that?
Who played a centaur? I mean, nobody ever played a centaur in our group.
Never.
Yeah. And how would they have climbed a ladder? They wouldn't have. You just said like, oh, you guys are going to have to find another way. The centaur can't climb a ladder. You're going to have to drag him up.
Good luck climbing up that rope to,
Yeah.
But a person in a wheelchair is suddenly too much.
They love doing that too. they love picking the one exception and then, you know, smugly saying, gotcha. It's like, you know, well, you could say like, well, of course, men on average are stronger than women. Well, you know, what about pick any MMA fighter that's, you know, a woman? Well, okay, they're still not going to be stronger than, you know, their male counterparts. Could they beat up a guy like this? Yes, of course they could. But they're the exception.
Right.
To lend credence to.
And this guy's an exception too.
A village's wealth is meaningless fantasy devoid of any meaning or deeper interpretation. I am being sarcastic, but the existence of queer stories and black stories and women who are more than rape fantasies, no Jesus, that is political.
Who makes their games about women who are grape fantasy? Nobody.
This guy is so stuck on his little thing going on. He's so stuck on this malfunctioning way of thinking.
I think it really is projection at this point, isn't it? Like, this is all stuff he's either done or wants to do, and he's just trying to absolve himself. This is him scouring his back.
Engaging in art and life as an adult. I've seen a meme floating around in various iterations that basically reads, conservatives will always speak of a more simple time, but the times weren't more simple. The conservatives were just kids. They were sheltered. They grew up. They learned that life.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God! Now he's a psychologist. Oh wow, this guy's so smart.
I'll give you an advice from or a story disproving that from real life, and it happened poignantly, you know, within the last week. You know, I was spending a lot of time up at my folks' house. My dad is still alive too. He's only a year younger than my mom. And, you know, we were just kind of talking. And look, my dad, when I go up there, he's got two things on. He's got the NFL on, golf, you know, any kind of a professional sports, or he has news on, but, you know, usually like Fox News. And that was part of my growing up, and I'm thankful for it because he's the one that taught me to be a conservative. Yeah, he's an empty vessel. But for the first time ever, my dad, like, there was an ad on Fox News for that new Martin Scorsese movie that I think is like religious, and they were advertising it on Fox News. And my dad was just, you know, maybe it was just the moment, but he's never said something like this to me in my life. You know, but maybe it was late, you know, and of course, you know, he's going through a lot of emotions, you know, as his wife, you know, was, you know, on the edge of death. And he just said, Double D, he said, do you like movies like that? You know, like those kind of, and I think he just kind of meant like those epic movies, you know, it could have been like Lord of the Rings or something, you know. He wasn't saying just like religious. And I'm like, yeah, Dad. I'm like, I do, you know, and he knows I love sports too. I love news. I'm very active there. He said to me, he's like, he shook his head and he said, yeah, he's like, you know what, Double D? He's like, I have a simple mind. He's like, I love sports and I like news. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, simple mind, huh? Him and his brother started one of the most like successful restaurants for many years in our city. And our city is not small. They ran one of the most successful restaurants in town for a quarter of a century. And, you know, to hear this guy say that, you know, back then you had to wrestle with a lot of the stuff that we have to today. You could be a successful person, you know, but you didn't have to be one of these elitist ivory tower assholes like this guy is to be successful. That was the beauty back then. Okay, you could be successful without being an overly complicated person. You could be smart enough to run your business, and then when you got home, you're like, I just want to put the TV on. I want to watch some football. And that's the way it was, and that's real life.
Yeah.
Okay, he says he was around back then. I'm calling bullshit. Or if he was living. He certainly wasn't living in America. I think this guy might be from like South Africa or something, Which it's like, that is such a narrow niche, specific, like, upbringing, if that's where he, lived his life. I mean, I'm sure it came with its own set of, complications. But no, life was not very complicated back then. You had to go to school, earn good grades, and then you could play. If you were an adult, you worked hard, you got ahead.
Simplicity is the essence of good design.
Yes.
Our world's really fucked it up.
Oh, God, yeah. This world is becoming a nightmare, and it's becoming a nightmare because of people like this guy. And it's not just him, it's because people listen. They think this guy has some sort of special knowledge. He could tell you all the books he read. I guarantee you, if you spent 10 minutes in a room with this guy, you'd be like, there's something wrong with this person. Like there's, like the Joker, like I know the squealers and, like that's him.
Life is complicated and they think that times are less simple as a result. I am paraphrasing. If you know where this quote
2 minutes left, boys, and then we're done.
Please leave a comment. I'd love to know where it comes from. But the same can be said of D&D. We're never going to be 12 again. We're never going to be able to engage with D&D or any art or life at large as innocents again. We know too much. We've learned too much. Some of us can pretend we don't. Some of us can vociferously insist we don't know better. Anti-intellectualism and fascism go hand in hand. But you cannot...
Did he say intellectualism and fascism go hand in hand?
Gosh.
It's such a lie.
Says the guy with the fake accent.
Yes. I mean, it sort of does... It sort of is true, but he doesn't realize it's his brand of intellectualism.
Yes.
That is the fascism. That's the M. Night Shyamalan twist. Go ahead. I think that's DM James. James, good to see you, buddy. I don't believe there's enough tanker representation in 5e D&D. I suggest adding a Panzer IV Auf N. Yeah, is that the one with the 75, James? Yeah, that's a good one. I think I have that in my bolt action army. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Workhorse, just like the Stug 3.
Know something just because it makes you uncomfortable. Believe me, the vast majority of marginalized people wish they had the luxury of existing beyond certain realities.
I'm going to play that back. I want you guys to hear that again.
But you cannot unknow something just because it makes you uncomfortable. Believe me, the vast majority of marginalized people wish they had the luxury of existing beyond certain realities.
The vast. I love how he almost he did like a theater kid, like the vast. The vast. What does that even mean? Existing beyond certain realities. What are you talking about? There's a great... I encourage you guys, when they have their elections up in Canada, he's going to be the next prime minister, Pierre Poilievre, or however you pronounce his name. He gave the best interview ever while eating an apple. And one of these leftist idiot reporters was trying to say, you're taking a page out of Trump's playbook. He would take a bite of the apple and go, what does that mean? Well, I mean, it means you're doing, you're kind of playing to the, left, right, all that. He's like, I never do that. Bite of the apple. He'd ask another stupid question. What does that mean? And he cut this stupid reporter down to size so much. He looks so foolish.
But haven't we all wanted to do that? Yeah. Regardless of what we're watching, when some of the reporters up there, whether it's a sports thing or whatever it is, some idiot is going to ask an obtuse question.
You know what? You keep talking, Rogan. I'm going to find it. Then we're going to end on this. I will look at it. Hold on. I'll try to find it. You keep talking.
We've always, regardless of what it is, some reporter's asking another stupid question. I love it when the interviewer barks back. I love it when they call them out for stupid questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And they should. Here we go.
All All right, so hold on one second here. I will get rid of this dreck. And then we have to probably put on that desktop audio. Oh, this is the best. All right. Here we go.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay, a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
like who?
Like who?
I don't know who, but
well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
You must know somebody.
I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is,
Look at him, he's looking off.
why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page.
Give me the page.
You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not
just
sure.
wondering.
I don't know what your question is.
Then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense.
Okay.
Common sense for a change. We're going to make common sense common in this country. We don't have any common sense in the current government. The guy prints $600 billion, grows our money supply by 32% in 3 years. That's growing the money 8 times faster than the economy. No wonder we have the worst inflation in 4 decades. I'm going to cap spending, cut waste, so that we can balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. You'll want to be able to pay your mortgage again? You want to be able to afford rent? Then you have to vote for Pierre Poilievre, because I'm the only one with a common sense plan that will bring back the buying power of your paycheck.
Oh, so beautiful. That
who? What page?
Yeah, what page?
You're the one who asked me this question.
Yeah. Pierre Poilievre. I think they have elections in, I think September.
Hell, I'm going to vote for him.
I wish I could. Maybe they'll be our 51st state, and we can he'll be part of the country. Yeah, Pierre is the man. That's how you deal with these people.
Yes.
You make them look foolish, and then you give your common sense answer at the end. You tell them. That's why that guy was saying, like, life doesn't have to be complex when you're a beautiful, clear thinker like that guy is. Why do we have inflation? Well, anybody who's taken any economics class, look, I got a minor in econ in college. I could tell you, you print money, government spending is out of control. Inflation is going to go wild. That's exactly what's been going on for the last 4 years. And he just told you in a very, conversational way, that's what happens. We're printing money like crazy, and of course that's going to lead to inflation. But gougeflation, greedflation. Nope, not going to work. I love that.
I think
what page? Who?
That was a masterclass on how to deal with
yeah. Who said that? Well, you must know somebody. Yeah. Somebody told you, right?
You asked me that question.
Yes. The time for being polite to these people is over. Always remember in the back of your mind, they want you dead. If you're a white man, they want you dead. And that is not a lie. They would prefer you not exist. If it ever became legal for them to hunt you, trust me, guys like that we just, EFAP'd for the last hour, he wouldn't be able to do it, but he'd hire somebody. I think we missed, I hope I didn't miss any more. Let's see. We had James. I don't believe there's enough. Oh, that's the tanker. Okay, that's the tanker one. So was there any more? Boy, I could have sworn. Oh, yeah, there's DB. Okay. He's showing excellent verbal defense techniques. Yes, DB, exactly. That's called, playing some offense with your defense. He got his point across just by, just deflecting back. And no one of consequence is a justiciar. Welcome, sir.
All right.
All you channel members, thank you. All you people that donate channel memberships, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Well, it's been a long night. So it is almost time for us to go. So good to get back in the saddle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good to talk to all you guys. This is a great subject matter. I always love talking about this. I despise these people.
I just wish we had enough time. I'm reading as fast as I can and trying to pick out a few things. And everyone has such amazing, hilarious, and sharp things to say. And you guys are all awesome. I wish I could, pluck every single one of them and put it up there. But
yep.
Yeah, you guys are the rock stars.
Yep. We love reading you here. Of course, if we put everybody's chat up, the show would be 10 hours because you guys all have good things to say.
I think we could do a 10-hour show.
We could, yes. So, of course, we hit the supers. We try to hit others. They catch our attention here and there. But thank you guys very much.
Very generous.
Again, thanks for your kind words over this last tough week. But Mom's in a better place, and like I said, Mom would approve. Mom hated the left just as much as Double D. Where do you think he got it? Mom and Dad? No bueno with the communists and these elitist, these intellectual cocksuckers. I wish nothing but the worst for them, as I've always said. And that's about it. Let's leave on a high note there. Huh?
Let's do that.
I'll give you guys something to go out on. I'll decide when I get you out there. But all right.
Good night, everybody.
I'm in a video groove now. So hopefully you'll get another one of those. Thank you, Rogan. Crazy Mouse will be back. We'll do O&R again. Trust me. But until we talk again, guys, I want you all to have a great rest of your week. We have one last to sneak in here. Disco Barbarian, a defender. Thank you, buddy. And thank you, Ryan. Much appreciated. Yes. Yep. God bless, Mom. Yep. I had so many messages like that. I knew you guys had my back. Just like I try to have yours. I may not always be on the ball at times, but love all you guys. All right. Take care. For Rogan and the not here Crazy Mouse, who should be back next week. Peace. Love you.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point. At real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
So right now we have Hillary's about a 75 or an 80% favorite. We have different versions of the forecast you can look at.
Poll has Hillary Clinton up by double digits nationally, 12 points, 50 to 38, four-way race.
Clinton leading in Florida, Clinton leading in North Carolina, Clinton leading in Ohio, Clinton leading in Nevada. I could go on and on and on.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
And so, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
We have a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. And CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Huge win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we project, will win in Kentucky, in Indiana, with its 11 electoral votes. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, North Dakota, with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business.